Starting a renovation project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Nora Gay Banton.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the Court of Appeal wants to know what's unique about the murder of Clive Lizard Williams that has caused the state to be so keen on retrying Vybz Kartel and his co-accused for the crime.
And Kartel's defense team again tells the court that the publicity the matter has received should rule out any consideration of a retrial.
A British woman reportedly committed suicide at the Negril police station in Westmoreland this morning.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness admits that the country's economic growth is not at the level the government would like.
The economic growth that we're experiencing, 1 and 2 and 3%, is not the economic growth that we want. We want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%.
Woman videoed in physical altercation with female police officer charged.
Mommy, go into the vehicle. Go into the vehicle. Go into the vehicle. No, go in.
In news from the rest of the world, 4 opposition activists detained in Venezuela.
The White House hits back at Netanyahu's weapons delay claims.
In headline sports, 2 Jamaicans won at a World Continental Athletics meet in Turkey today.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the constabulary force says members of the public should not resist arrest following a viral video showing a confrontation between a police officer and a woman in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Assistant Commissioner of Indicom, Hamish Campbell, and the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, to what extent should the diaspora have a say in the governance of the country? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. Message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
And in the nation's business at 6:40, the 10th biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference is underway in Montego Bay, St. James. We'll be joined by members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council.
From 7 to 8, it's Nature's Remedies with Dr. Denise Daly. Tonight, we'll be looking at the hibiscus species.
And at 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre MacDonald.
At 9, it's Affairs of the Heart with Rodney Campbell. Tonight's topic, who's to be blamed for Jamaican men no longer being admirable?
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Tuesday afternoon, it's Tuesday, June 18, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by the new Chizza Zinger from KFC. Topped with marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. Available for a limited time only. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Court of Appeal has questioned what's unique about the murder of Clive Lizard Williams, which has caused the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to be keen on retrying Vybz Kartel and his co-accused for the crime 13 years later. The question was put to Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Claudette Thompson, on the final day of the retrial hearing for the accused men. Justices Marva MacDonald Bishop, Paulette Williams, and David Fraser will decide the matter. Mahiris Stewart tells us more.
The stark question was put to the prosecution after Justice MacDonald Bishop expressed her discomfort with the fact that 2 other murder cases sent back to the Supreme Court in the last 6 years were yet to be retried. The justice noted that in one of the matters, the accused is alleged to have beheaded his spouse, while in the other, a policeman is accused of murdering a 14-year-old child. Justice MacDonald Bishop wanted to know what distinguishes the murder of Clive Lizard Williams, which would cause the prosecution to seem to be prioritizing this case above the others. The senior jurist questioned out loud why the prosecution was placing a higher premium on Williams's murder than in the other cases that were sent back for trial. Justice MacDonald Bishop pointed out that in the other cases, one victim was a female and the other was a child. She wanted to know what would place Williams's case above the other two, which have yet to be retried. Acting DPP Claudette Thompson told the court that the prosecution was not concerned solely about victims or placing a premium on one murder over another. She told the justices that Kartel's matter could be distinguished from the other two because the Crown was ready to proceed and its witnesses were in place. Justice MacDonald Bishop noted that the question she posed was necessary because, should the court order a retrial, it would affect the administration of justice in other matters currently awaiting retrial. The acting DPP told the court that a retrial in the Kartel matter was important due to the seriousness of the murder, the nature of the crime, the prevalence of murder, the strength of the case against the men, and the fact that the witnesses are available. The senior prosecutor also told the court that the public interest in the matter demands that the case be tried on its merits and not merely dismissed on a technicality. Ms. Thompson told the judges that the cost of a retrial should not be weighed too heavily because no price should be placed on a citizen's life, regardless of the character of the victim in the matter. The office of the DPP is seeking to retry Vybz Kartel, whose given name is Adidja Palmer, Sean Campbell, Andre St. John and Kahira Jones for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Williams's body has never been found. The UK-based Privy Council overturned the convictions in March this year due to jury issues in the original trial. The Court of Appeal has indicated it will deliver its ruling as to whether the men will be retried or freed by July 31. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Kartel's defense team has again warned the Court of Appeal to be mindful of the effect that unregulated bloggers may have on how potential jurors may view the case should a retrial be ordered. The team says the publicity the matter has received should rule out any consideration of a retrial. Referencing the popular Bridgerton character Lady Whistledown, Isat Buchanan told the three judges that anonymous figures often influence opinion and shape social outlook. He warned that online platforms such as Politrix Watch have large audiences and often invite the public to view the judicial system with skepticism. Mr. Buchanan says while these online bloggers secure their own privacy by hiding behind anonymous profiles, they often do real harm to the administration of justice. Another member of the defense team, John Clark, accepted that mere publicity is not enough to rule out the possibility of a retrial for his clients, but he says there is significant risk of prejudice in the Kartel case as the content from the initial trial was already widely available in the public domain. Clark also warned the Court of Appeal that an unfair link had been assumed in the public domain between the jury tampering issue and the accused men. This is despite the Privy Council declaring that there is no evidence of a link between the men and the attempts at jury tampering, which caused the initial convictions to be overturned.
A British woman reportedly committed suicide at the Negril police station in Westmoreland on Tuesday morning. The woman has been identified as 57-year-old Justine Templeman, a resident of San Francisco in California, USA. She was vacationing at a hotel on Norman Manley Boulevard in the resort town. Shalois Michael reports.
Nationwide News sources say the woman went for a swim and was not seen or heard from for a long while. Before going for the swim, she had expressed a suicidal thought to a staff member at her hotel. That was about 7:30 p.m. on Monday. At 2 a.m. on Tuesday, Mr. Templeman was seen naked and behaving boisterously at another hotel property. The police were called in. When they arrived, they gave her a robe, restrained her, and transported her to the Negril police station at about 5 a.m. While at the station, arrangements were made for her to get medication and be transported to the Savannah Lamar Public Hospital. While still at the station, She asked and was assisted to the bathroom on several occasions. But on one occasion, she ran to the bathroom and locked herself inside. Police personnel broke down the door and found her hanging inside the room. Miss Templeman was rushed to the Savannah Lamar Public Hospital with a weak pulse. She was pronounced dead at about 11 a.m. When contacted, head of the JCF's Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, confirmed the incident, but she was unable to give details. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force says the woman seen in a physical altercation with the police at a primary school in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been charged. The incident occurred on Monday. Dana Davey reports.
In a video that has since gone viral, a woman is seen grabbing the uniform of a policewoman, who in turn holds on to the woman's hair.
Mommy, video. Stop and confirm, please. Mommy, go into the vehicle.
You call them anytime.
Go into the vehicle. Go into the vehicle.
No, go in on the vehicle. What should you do?
Why are you doing this?
Leg off of me ear.
Mommy,
why you do that?
She don't know right now.
Leg off of me ear.
Miss, I said do not make any calls. You're under arrest.
Me not make no call. I'm not call now.
Miss, what I just
watch
said.
Me a turn off. The watch me turning off. You say me not make no call, me a turn off the watch. Look and see if I call.
I'm going to ensure that I arrest you without bail.
The video then jumps to the woman being pushed into the police vehicle by two members of the JCF. She's then seen trying to prevent the door from being closed. An official report from the Constabulary Force says a team from the Spanish Town Police Station responded to a call from a primary school administrator in the area. The JCF says the school was requesting help to remove a disruptive parent from the compound. However, it says despite multiple attempts to engage the woman peacefully, the situation escalated, resulting in what is caught on video. According to the JCF, the woman was subsequently arrested and charged with assaulting the police and resisting arrest. The JCF is urging members of the public to cooperate with the police during interactions, including arrests. It says under Section 15 of the Constabulary Force Act, the police are given the authority to arrest individuals without a warrant. They're able to do so if the individual is found committing an offense or if the officer has reasonable grounds to suspect that a person has committed an offense. The JCF says in the event of an arrest, it's important for persons to remain calm and comply with the police's instructions. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness admits that the country's economic growth is not at the level the government would like. He was speaking at the Jamaica Diaspora conference in Montego Bay, St. James. However, while growth has not been robust, the Prime Minister believes his administration has been able to achieve economic stability. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
For 2024, the World Bank projects the Jamaican economy will grow by 2%. This follows a 2.6% growth rate for 2023. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told the Jamaican diaspora that this is not where the country would like to be.
Jamaica has now experienced 12 consecutive quarters of economic growth since the pandemic. It is worth recalling that prior to the pandemic, we enjoyed 20 consecutive quarters of economic growth, and this was the longest unbroken period of economic expansion since our independence. I want to say a little bit on economic growth. Let us all agree that the economic growth that we are experiencing, 1 and 2 and 3%, is not the economic growth that we want. We want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% economic growth.
Over the weekend, the leader of opposition business in the Senate, Peter Bunting, heavily criticized the government for what he sees as the country's substandard growth rate. Senator Bunting slammed the government, saying the country is floundering, even as other countries in the region are thriving. However, Mr. Holness says such critics ignore the economic stability that has been achieved in the country.
But let us reflect on what our economic growth experience was. Sometimes it went up, most times it went down. Not just that, negative. For several decades, unstable. What has happened in the last decade? We have seen stability in our economy. So I say to our millennials, our young people, and those who are skeptical about Jamaica, and they say, well, our economic growth is low. No one disputes that. But our economic growth is better than it has ever been in the history of Jamaica. You cannot build Wakanda and unpredictable economic growth.
Meanwhile, Mr. Holness pointed to another positive indicator of Jamaica's improving position in the record low unemployment rate of 4.2%.
And our unemployment rates have been fairly high over the last 4 or 5 decades. And we have gone up as high as 13-14% unemployment. What has changed since my administration? Unemployment has come all the way down. We are now at our lowest unemployment rate in the history of Jamaica at 4.2%. Now, whatever I'm telling you, facts. These are not the facts you get on social media.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay.
Does your organization need help to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act? Contact We Manage Trust today at 876-339-5982 or email info@wemanagetrust.com. Let their team help you to achieve compliance with confidence and learn about their tailored MSME packages. We Manage Trust, the data protection experts. Give them a call at 876-339-5982. That's 876-339-5982. Call them today.
Continuing the news, the police are theorizing that the 14-year-old schoolboy who was involved in a shooting incident at Oterius High School in St. Anne on Monday may have gotten the illegal weapon from someone in his community. Reports are that the boy took the gun to school and showed it to his friends inside a classroom. The boys were handling the weapon when it went off, hitting a 12-year-old in her thigh. The injured student was taken to the hospital where she was treated and discharged. The weapon was also seized. Commanding officer for the St. Anne Division, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, says the boy is still in custody.
We are confirming that the 14-year-old student from the Oterius High School was implicated in that incident yesterday is still in custody. We are making arrangement at this time to have him placed before the St. Anne Children's Court.
SSP Powell says he suspects the gun is owned by someone from the community of Pineapple in the parish.
Related to where he got the firearm from, we are still following investigative lead. And we are certain that we'll be able to get down to the bottom of that in shortest possible time. The community that he is from, Pineapple community, in time past, we were having some challenges with that area. And it is possible that persons who occupied that area, the firearm may belong to them.
SSP Dwight Powell, head of the St. Anne Police Division.
Meanwhile, President of the National Parent Teachers Association, the NPTAJ, Stuart Jacobs, says parents are becoming increasingly fearful of sending their children to school.
The fact that he was able to come on the school premises with it, it is very scary and frightening, quite discouraging that such a weapon could find itself on a school compound. School is supposed to be a place of solace, a place of safety, of comfort, where the environment ought to be suited for the process of education, for learning. It's not happening because as parents, we are scared, literally scared now to send our children out to school. And it's not an exaggeration.
Mr. Jacobs says the education system needs to ramp up its safety and security measures.
The education system needs an overall when it comes to school safety. More guidance counselors are needed to preempt, to be proactive and see some of these things happening. Perhaps teachers need to be more vigilant in looking out for certain signs. The spend needs to be done to protect our children while they are in school. We are no longer living in a society where it's peace and safety in our schools. It's no longer happening.
Stuart Jacobs, the president of the NPTAJ.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The world in a minute.
Venezuela's opposition coalition says 4 activists from 2 of its political parties have been detained in recent days as tensions rise ahead of a July presidential contest. The opposition says the 4 were arrested between Friday and Monday by security forces who have accused them of instigating hate and conspiracy. One of the 4 was later released on Monday evening. In a live broadcast on social media, opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez denounced what he calls a new attack by the government. The detentions of the 4 activists and a journalist, Luis Lopez, come amid favorable polling for Gonzalez. He has been tapped as the opposition candidate after Venezuela's top court upheld a ban on holding public office for its primary winner, Maria Corina Machado. President Maduro, who is seeking a 3rd term, was favored by around 30% in a recent poll compared to Gonzalez's support of 50%. 37 activists have been detained so far this year.
In the United States, the White House has pushed back against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hours after he lashed out at the Biden administration for withholding weapons from Israel. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre confirmed on an ongoing pause remained on one particular shipment of bombs, but she insisted that no other weapons were being withheld. In a video in English earlier on Tuesday, Mr. Netanyahu rebuked the United States, saying it was inconceivable for the administration to be withholding weapons. He said Israel is America's closest ally fighting for its life. In the video, Mr. Netanyahu said he had spoken to the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, about delays. He said he was assured by Mr. Blinken that he was working day and night to remove the bottlenecks. At a press conference in Washington, Blinken said the administration was continuing to hold back the consignment of bombs from Israel over concerns about their use in urban areas of Gaza, but that the issue remained under review.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Court of Appeal has asked to know what's unique about the murder of Clive Lizard Williams that has caused the state to be so keen on retrying Vybz Kartel and his co-accused for the crime.
And Kartel's defense team again tells the court that the publicity the matter has received should rule out any consideration of a retrial.
A British woman reportedly committed suicide at the Negril police station this morning.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness admits that the country's economic growth is not at the level the government would like.
The economic growth that we are experiencing, 1% and 2% and 3%, is not the economic growth that we want. We want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Nora Gay Banter.
And you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the new Pizza Zinger from KFC. Topped with marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. Available for a limited time only. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic. Well then, let's propel we nation moving forward in a new direction. True independence, that's the projection. No more dependency, it's the best plan. Yes, we know what's best for us, cause we want we country prosperous. So make we just pull together as the general public while on the road to republic. Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic.
A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
We on the road to republic.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Shanika Ricketts and Omar McLeod scored victories at the Power Near Me Games, a World Continental Gold Tour meeting in Turkey today. Ricketts secured the women's triple jump with a leap of 14 meters 17, while McLeod, who is making a comeback from a long-term injury, won the 110 meters high hurdles in 13.25 seconds.
Good start from McLeod. McLeod leading the moment, putting pressure on the others. King going well, but also going very well on the far side is Hayden. It was Lacker on the far side in black, the rest of them coming through. The Belgian moving through on the near side, the Bakari moving through really nicely. But he takes the win there with a 1.4 win, McLeod.
The third Jamaican at the meet, Brittany Anderson, a training partner of McLeod's, did 12.93 seconds for fourth place in her heat of the women's sprint hurdles. She then finished fifth in the final in 12.87 seconds as the 2019 world champion Nia Ali of the United States won in 12.48.
Good start again from Nia Ali. Nadine Visser not quite on terms with the American at the moment, but the Dutch woman getting flying here over the few hurdles in the middle. Nadine Visser is going to power away, or is she? Nia Ali so strong in the closing.
American track legend Michael Johnson has launched a lucrative new athletics league. Grand Slam Track will aim to bring together the world's elite runners, offering $100,000 as a top prize. Starting in April of 2025, the new format will be to have a prize fund of $12.6 million split over 4 events. Grand Slam Track will feature 4 meetings each year, with 2 hosted in the United States. Athletes will compete in 2 events each, and 48 will be contracted to the league. The American superstar Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, the Olympic and 400 meters hurdles champion, has been announced as the first athlete to join the league. Finances in athletics has become a talking point in recent months, with World Athletics announcing in April it would pay prize monies to Olympic athletes. Earlier this month, the governing body announced a new global championship to start in 2026, with gold medalists receiving $150,000. World Athletics said its championship would have $10 million available in prize monies. The Diamond League currently offers a $30,000 in prize for those athletes winning an event across 15 meetings. Johnson says athletes deserve to be compensated. He says the structure of the sport in the past has not compensated the athletes to take the risk to go and compete against the best athletes in the sport. 2016 champions Portugal got off to a winning start to a Euro 2024. They beat Czechia, otherwise known as the Czech Republic, 2-1 in Leipzig this afternoon. Lucas Provod shot Czechia in front 2 minutes after the hour mark, but Portugal equalized through an own goal from Robin Hershnak in the 69th minute before Francisco Conceição bagged the winner in added time.
Conceição! Off the bench and into the headlines! One king of the football, and he's won it!
Turkey defeated Georgia 3-1 in the day's other fixture. Portmore United forward Alex Marshall says he's looking to play against some of the best players in the Copa America region when the Jamaicans take part in the Copa America June 20 to July 14. The Reggae Boys will open their campaign against Mexico on Saturday at the NRG Stadium in Houston. That game is set to kick off at 8 o'clock Jamaica time on Saturday evening. Marshall, who scored 3 goals in the Premier League for Portmore United, says he's a big fan of the tournament.
I know how big this is. Looking forward to play against great players. Lionel Messi is in the competition as well. And win this year. So I'm looking forward to reach that level or that part of the tournament so we play against them. I'm a huge Messi and Brazil fan, so Copa America is something that I watched growing up, and being here still unbelievable. Like I still can't believe that I'm here. So just as I said, I'm going for learning and hopefully get to play against the greats.
Alex Marshall. West Indies women suffered a 5-wicket loss to host Sri Lanka in the second one-day international at the Mahinda Rajapaksa International Cricket Stadium today. The win gave Sri Lanka an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. Chasing 93 to win, the hosts reached the target with 172 balls to spare. Opener Vishmi Gunaratne hit a runner ball 50, while Kavisha Dilheri made 28 to lead the victory charge. Karishma Rangharak took 2 wickets for West Indies. The Windies were earlier bowled out for 92 in 31 overs. Rashada Williams made 24, Chidi Nation 12, Alia Alain 16, Afi Fletcher 16, and the standing captain Tremaine Campbell 9. Final scores: West Indies women 92 and Sri Lanka women 93 for 5. Ramarat said the batters didn't give the bowlers enough runs to defend.
I think the pitches has something in it for everyone. You get bounce and swing early up, and when the ball gets older, it offers some grip for the spinners. I also believe once you apply yourself and play proper cricketing shots, you get value for it with the quick outfield. So as I said, I believe there is something in it for everyone. Obviously not scoring enough runs today is where we, went wrong. We played the first game, and so how once you pass the gaps, it's a sure boundary. I think we didn't apply ourselves as batters in the middle and spend enough time in order to give the team a decent score to defend.
Karishma Ramarak. And we close out with the nationwide Olympic fact, and it's sponsored by Fontana Pharmacy.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
Did you know that Dion Hemmings is the first Jamaican woman to win individual gold at an Olympic Games? Yes, that's a fact. Dion Hemmings created history when she won gold in the women's 400 meters hurdles at the 1996 Olympics in a then Games record time of 52.82 seconds.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
Folks, we've got 38 days to go before the opening ceremony on July 26th. Yeah, and that will come to you live from the Riverside right here on the official and exclusive radio broadcasters for the games of the 33rd Olympiad here in Jamaica. Again, it's going to be a nationwide summer. And for those of you prospective sponsors, just hook us up here at Nation. We've got a space for you on the list of impressive sponsors that are putting their money where their mouth is for the Nationwide to bring to the country an Olympic Games like no other station can, right? So just call the sports department. They were saying, yes, you can call for information on that, but make sure you also touch base with our sales department. We've got spots left for you. Please take advantage of it, all right? Sports is going to be back on the station at 6:05 this evening.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:32.
You didn't know that the government decreased JUTC bus fares? Yes, it's now 70 for adults, 25 for children, and 30 for pensioners. And in April, fares will go down even further to 50 for adults, 20 for children, and 25 for pensioners.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Cool loans, I'll lend you 500 grand. We buy appliances and electrons. All flexible, payment plan. Yeah, man, a hot cash. Hot. I hope to 500 grand. Yeah, man, a hot cash. $500,000 that make you rich fast. 100 grand for buy steel and black. 200 for furniture, laptop. 200 for keep birthday bash. Yeah, money loan hot. Get a cool loan to purchase all your electronics, furnitures, and appliances at coolmarket.com.
Last week we had a most exciting show talking about whether or not Jamaica's man today is as much a man as he was back in the day, whether or not going forward the women believe that the men are going to be upstanding men. We also wanted to hear from the men what they think about us in today's world. Well, it's about time we hear the next part. But what should it say again?
Man a man.
Oh?
Up like man.
Oh, well
Act like man. Man must be here.
No,
Man,
sir.
man must take this.
Hold on.
Like man, you weak jellyback.
That you say.
Jesus have mercy. Me
Well, all right then.
jellyback man, me love man. We
But me glad I mean you say so.
up like man, we talk like man, we act like man, we behave like man. Man a man.
Who is to be blamed for this failing in fortitude? And if it isn't true, why does this narrative keep getting support from women? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic: is the Jamaican man still upstanding, or has he lost his spine?
Oh, Jesus have mercy.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
.36 this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Cover Story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Hi, top of the afternoon to you, listeners and viewers on YouTube. I'm Tyrone Reid.
My brother, how are you? I'm doing well. How are you?
I wish I could say it's a pleasure to be in the same space with you, but I'm well, my brother. It's always a privilege, my brother. You know this.
I see you've dressed for the occasion.
I just for another occasion. You're just benefiting from it.
Very well. Let's get let's get into it now. All right, listeners. So the Jamaica Constabulary Force says the woman seen in a physical altercation with the police at a primary school in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been charged. The incident occurred on Monday. In an almost 10-minute long video that has been circulating on social media, a woman is seen grabbing the uniform of a female officer who in turn holds on to the woman's hair. Here's a snippet of that video.
Mommy, stop and confirm, please. Mommy, go into the vehicle. You call them anytime. Go into the vehicle. Mommy, say you're going to the vehicle. Okay. Go into the vehicle. No, go in on the vehicle. What's your name? Leg off of me here. Mommy, why is that? She don't know right now. She leg off of me here. Go into the vehicle. Mommy, go into the vehicle. Mommy, relax. Leg off of me here. She asked me so. Mommy, leg off of me. I want to know what. Officer. Just go into the vehicle. No, but she. Mommy. If you put up his hand. Leg off of me. Mommy. Stop it, man. Hello, she come out and she say, just relax now. Nobody. Go in that vehicle. You have to go in that vehicle. Hey, officer, just release her here. Release some of my shot arrest. I want you to arrest. I'm military. I'm going to shut you off for clothes. I want you to. Now you come grab me. Go in that vehicle. Go in the vehicle. You come trouble me first. Mr. said do not make any calls. You're under arrest. I'm not make no call. I'm not call me. Miss, what I just said. Watch me, I turn off. The watch me turning off. Yes, I'm not make no call me, I turn off the watch. Look and see if I call I'm going to ensure that I arrest you without being arrest me and do anything. The law will.
The complete breakdown of law and order. Yeah, well, a report from the Constabulary Force says a team from the Spanish Town police station responded to a call from a primary school administrator in the area.
The JCF listeners and viewers went on to say the school is requesting help to remove a disruptive parent from the compound. And you know, I just want to pause here, Ricardo, to say, for those who viewed that snippet there, it does not get any better after that, because it's quite, the video goes on for quite a few minutes, yeah, and it does not improve. I watched it this morning and my heart broke, I must tell you, having seen the interaction, Ricardo. But the The JCF says, despite multiple attempts to engage the woman peacefully, the situation escalated, resulting in what you just saw there on the video. The constabulary says the woman was subsequently arrested and charged with assaulting the police and resisting arrest.
The JCF is urging members of the public to cooperate with the police during interactions, including arrests. It says under Section 15 of the Constabulary Force Act, the police are given the authority to arrest individuals without a warrant. They're able to do so if the individual is found committing an offense or if the officer has reasonable grounds to suspect that a person has committed an offense. The JCF says in the event of an arrest, it's important for persons to remain calm and to comply with the police's instructions. Joining us now to talk about interactions between civilians and the police, we're being joined by the Assistant Commissioner of Indicom, Hamish Campbell, and Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson. Lady, gentlemen, welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon to you both, Hamish and listeners.
Yes, good evening all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Assistant Commissioner Campbell, let me start with you. Have you received a report regarding this incident at Indicom?
Yes, we have. I've been in touch directly with the Deputy Commissioner of IPRO and had done earlier, and I've received a report which they in turn, IPRO, had received from the police station and the divisional inspector. So we have the full facts as reported by the police and the circumstances which led up to the incident, which is partly recorded, the details of the officers, and much more besides. So we have an understanding of the event, certainly.
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I finished on that.
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Yes, thanks, Ricardo. I was asking, Mr. Campbell, you've heard from iProbe. Have you heard from the civilian in the video?
No, we haven't. We've not received any complaint either from the lady concerned or her representative or any other family member or individual on her behalf at this time.
And in such a situation, where do you go next with the investigation?
Well, I'm going to reflect further on it with the team, one of our investigative teams, and then we can reach out to the lady concerned, who's now been granted bail today from court, and we'll make an assessment as whether the lady in concern wishes to make a statement or provide a formal complaint as how she perceives it concerning the officer or officer's actions. And from then we will consider what next steps, if any, to take.
Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson, the uniform of the police officer, clearly torn. I think I saw biting. I saw the woman being held by her hair. What do you make of this video?
You know, I think when any such video emerges, it really sends a signal that we ought to ensure that both officers and citizens are sensitized. The officers would, by virtue, receive training, and they receive continuous training, even with the JFJ and other entities, on human rights approaches and adhering to the force orders, the code of conduct, and so on within the JCF. But I also think it's important that citizens are aware of what their responsibilities are and their rights when, in fact, they are being arrested. The procedures that are to be outlined, the fact that they have a right to an attorney, the fact that they ought not to be resisting arrest, and what to do in the event they believe that their rights have been violated. So I think this video reiterates the importance of that type of dialogue. And I have taken note of the statement coming from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Mm-hmm. And I would be hard-pressed not to agree with the elements of the statement. However, I do find that the statement is fundamentally missing, that there ought to be some accountability coming from the JCF as well. Because on one hand, the citizen clearly was seen resisting arrest, holding on to the officer's clothing. But on the other hand, if what appears to be correct in the video, then the allegations that the officer was somehow biting and pulling the hair of the civilian, then one must ask the question, is that the appropriate manner to be executing an arrest, even when a citizen is resisting? And the other cause for concern, if what I glean from the video is correct, if it is that you're responding to a complaint and there is a likely chance an arrest would be made, At one point in the video, then there were questions about where is the handcuff? What can you use to restrain this individual? These are some cause for concern because the officers, in executing their lawful duties, must ensure that they have the necessary resources to do so.
Hold it there.
Those were other things that jumped out.
Hold it there for me, Michael Jackson. And after the break, I want to pick up there because I think that's what I'm struggling with as well, Hamish Campbell, Michael Jackson. In a society where indiscipline is so often on display, how should the police respond to a situation where a civilian is just not cooperating? After the break.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 15 minutes to 6.
Plan your tomorrow today. Introducing JMMB's Hello Future Retirement Planning website. Figure out how much you'll need to be set for life with our calculated tools and tips at your fingertips. Visit hellofuture.jmmb.com and start your journey to your dream retirement today. Conditions apply.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Tyrone Reed.
And we're assessing this situation again of, the police seeking to arrest civilians and the resistance that they sometimes come up against. We have with us Assistant Commissioner of Indicom, Hamish Campbell, and the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson. Before the break, Michael made the point about training and whether the training would prescribe that kind of approach, as we're seeing in this video, as best practice. Hamish Campbell, has Indicom over the years, I'm going to use the word, audited the training that men and women of the JCF receive?
Not from the training school, but we've written extensively on the use of force by the JCF in particular, and we did an extensive report in 2021 where we examined over 1,500 cases of assault over a 5-year period and then looked in granular detail at the nature of assaults, how they arise between the police and the citizens, the extent how they escalate. And it was an intense report into setting out why are they occurring, what is the police response to this, what is the citizens' response to this, the use of force that can be deployed to escalate and control or diffuse matters. So it's a complex matter. I think these videos, which we've seen so many of, we've all seen so many over the years, they're unedifying. They're not helpful to see because they're raw in their emotion from both sides. Mm-hmm. But your question is, how do you secure compliance from a person who's been lawfully arrested?
Absolutely. And in terms of what the report, your report found, in terms of the escalation, because clearly the situation is escalating, the civilian is not backing down, the officer needs to execute an arrest. What's the appropriate level of force that they should use?
It has to be, it sounds trite, but it has to be reasonable and proportionate. And of course, what we see in the JCF at times over the years has been, and it didn't occur in this case, a rapid move to pepper spray, baton or firearm. And that didn't occur in this place at all. We had a standoff and a tugging and a pulling. And it does require, as Mikhail says, training, both how to engage with people, to be less confrontational or forceful. Those are the early stages of dealing with non-compliant individuals. And then if force has to be used, I'm afraid that has to be used, but it has to be done in a way which is quick, efficient, and this struggling and pulling of hair, that's never useful to pull people's hair because that's not a self-defense tactic, and some people don't have any hair, others have wigs. It was all disappointing to see in a way, but it's very frustrating to judge, or it's wrong for us to judge from outside looking into a matter. These officers are engaged daily with civilians, citizens, many, I'm afraid, who don't comply, who confront and argue at every turn. And I think we saw in the video a standoff between both ladies when, in fact, without prejudging it, the lady had been under arrest and should have complied. And that's what Mikhail says. There needs to be a compliance and then complain. If the arrest was found to be unlawful or unwarranted, that can be dealt with later as well. But it's a difficult situation, and I don't want to make any judgment at this time, but it's a matter of constant training, and we heard the Police Federation just last weekend pointing out to their members through their leader of the Federation the need to exercise control, less use of aggressive language, less threatening behavior. Not that I saw that in this case either, but it's a large problem which has occurred for many years in the police service with the assaults. And our report from 2 years ago showed the great majority of assaults, allegations, arise from arrest incidents.
Mr.
That's the issue.
I wanted to go back to Michael about that comply and then complain remark. But since I think that is generally agreed, let me ask you, Michael, and I'd love to hear you on it as well, Amish Campbell. I watched this video, and in looking at it earlier today,
yes,
I thought to myself, de-escalation is the word that came to mind. Someone needed to have sought to de-escalate what was happening here. Michael Jackson, in your mind, who should that be in a scenario like this? Is that the responsibility of the police or the civilian in this case? Who has the primary responsibility to seek to de-escalate in circumstances of this nature?
The greater responsibility will always be on the law enforcement by virtue of their training, but also by virtue of the authority and the power which reside in them. So the greater responsibility would always be there, because the reality is that you will be facing citizens who sometimes are not too aware of the laws and their rights. And I think, and I'm not talking extreme criminals, no. I'm talking citizens who you engage, and because of that ignorance of the law, of their rights, you find that they will tend to get in temperament quickly. And therefore, in that regard, the responsibility will always be greater or greatly placed on the law enforcement officer. And that is where the training must kick in for the officers. I think one of the questions we have to ask ourselves is that we don't have a full picture based on what would have led to the situation happening. And I think that is also one of the cause for concern. The body-worn cameras, what would have led to this situation? And if the civilian's account is correct, and I'm not saying it is, if the civilian's account is correct, where you point in the face of the officer, does that mean that the officer's response is justified to hit based on the allegations we're hearing in the video? So these are some of the things that we have to ask ourselves. What is the level of training? What is the expectation from law enforcement officers? Because let's not fool ourselves. The officers carry great weight, authority, and power in law, and the burden must be placed on them, while not excusing citizens in the process. And I have to be very clear.
I hear you that, Michael Jackson. Sorry, Ricardo.
No, go ahead.
If I could just hold a follow-up. I hear you that, Michael Jackson. So let's follow that reasoning to its logical end. What does that mean then for a police officer who's trying to effect an arrest if they are supposed to de-escalate? Does that mean we don't now arrest you here and now and then seek to arrest you at a later date? What is the logical end?
Well, the training and the use of force policy is very clear. Hamish spoke to it earlier. What is the reasonable response? How proportional is the response based on the threat or the issue that you're facing? And when you exercise that level of reasonable response, the proportionality based on what you're facing, then you can be so guided. Of course, the officers must execute their duties, but it must be executed based on the use of force policy and the training with which they have been provided. And I go back to the point, Tyrone, listeners, Ricardo, that we cannot miss the elephant in the room here. Did the officers have even the handcuffs to restrain this person? At one point in the video, you hear that the officer was calling a backup unit to bring handcuffs. That's my recollection. I stand corrected. And if that account is correct, then the JCF must provide a response. What exactly is expected of officers when they are executing a lawful arrest? That is a cause for concern. Do they even have the resources to successfully execute an arrest without it escalating in the manner that it did. Because if this individual was around the back of the vehicle and, acting in a manner that is not complying, that is belligerent, what would have happened? Could the vehicle have crashed? These are some of the questions that we have to be asking ourselves as we ask the JCF for some answers.
Yeah. Hamish Campbell, we're having this conversation. Are we being unfair to the JCF? Because I hear the arguments about de-escalate, and I appreciate Mikel's perspective that, the law enforcement authorities would have a greater responsibility to de-escalate. But I don't know how we take that in the context of a society where our people are just sometimes resistant of any kind of authority and they do not want to comply. How do we police in an environment like this?
Well, what you say is very true, and what Ms. Jackson said is equally true. I'm just my last part of our 2020 report, I wrote, the public must treat the security forces with the similar respect and compliance which is absent in so many scenarios. Indicom considers many citizens challenge policing authority and resist direction without cause, and such behaviour is observed in social media. And it's this resistance to lawful orders in one part increases conflict. And so, the police aren't going to stand down, not only in some small loss of face, but if they've made a public arrest, if they've told an individual, in this case or any other case, you're under arrest and you're coming to the station, it's difficult for police to then step down. Michaela makes a good point. The reason the standoff was so long, and we all witnessed it, was because they were waiting for handcuffs to be delivered. And that is the learning, the development. Every single police officer, man and woman, should have handcuffs on them every single day, because those officers were equally concerned about their own firearms. And I've sat here for 12 years and seen too many officers in fights where the gun has been attempted to be taken from them, and in some cases taken. And that is the hesitancy of engaged in this physical wrestling. There was no suggestion of it, but the officers will have that in their mind. And that is why they need cuffs, to immediately say, Madam, sir, you're under arrest. I'm using handcuffs as force. Now go in the car. And I think,
can you? I'd love for you to just expound on that point a bit more, because I think you might be onto something there. I think the reference in the video was clear. Had they had handcuffs, the standoff perhaps wouldn't have lasted that long. Is that an indictment?
That's my interpretation from years as a police officer myself in London. That is what she wasn't going to. The police officer was not going to let go of the lady. She, in turn, was not going to release the police officer, which was incorrect. But they needed the handcuffs, because once the handcuffs were on and placed behind her or in front of her, whichever way they chose, then she becomes a more compliant person. And self-defense and police officer control, they start off with voice. Authority, just wearing a uniform makes the great majority of us, you and me and others, comply. We stop, we comply. Okay, what's the next level up? I'm not complying. I'm going to try and drive away. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to push. Then officers will move to the next phase. But there comes a very quick stage when the officers are not going to spend their time fighting and struggling in the street. They need the handcuffs. They also, must I say, without being too critical, there were other police officers present, and their action might also have assisted in this matter more quickly. So I think the video is illustrative and quite illuminating for the police service themselves to reflect on this, because this isn't looking through a window darkly. These are the daily events which are occurring in Jamaica with police officers seeking to make arrests. And they need to understand that.
I know we're running out of time, Michael Jackson, but you saw there where there was some blood towards the end of that video. The police officer was also seen, I don't want to say raining blows on her, but she delivered several blows to the woman in the video. Are you comfortable with that, Michael Jackson?
I'm not comfortable with any element of the video. I think citizens must be aware of their responsibility in adhering and complying when the officers are executing their lawful duties. But in the event that does not happen, again, the officers must ensure that proportionality is key. And what we saw in that video, I think it runs contrary to the training that the officers would have received from the JCF. And if you would just allow me lastly to say very quickly, I would encourage citizens to be aware of their rights, what they have. When you come in conflict with the law, it is best that you engage and ask to speak to a duty counsel, and then you can make the reports through your attorney to IPRO, to Indicom, and of course you can contact GFJ.
Yeah. So the advice this afternoon is comply and then complain. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Yeah. All right. Hamish Campbell, Michael Jackson, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just to tell our listeners, Tyrone, we have reports of a estimated magnitude 4.2 earthquake striking about 15 minutes ago. It was, this says, 19 kilometers from Albertown in Trelawney. We're trying to reach out to the earthquake unit at the UWI to get some more details, but an estimate.
Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan, and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. The Court of Appeal has questioned what's unique about the murder of Clive Lizard Williams, which has caused the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to be keen on retrying Vybz Kartel and his co-accused for the crime 13 years later. The question was put to Acting Director of Public Prosecutions Claudette Thompson on the final day of the retrial hearing for the accused men. Justices Marva MacDonald Bishop, Paulette Williams and David Fraser will decide the matter. Mahira Stewart has her story.
The stark question was put to the prosecution after Justice MacDonald Bishop expressed her discomfort with the fact that 2 other murder cases sent back to the Supreme Court in the last 6 years were yet to be retried. The justice noted that in one of the matters, the accused is alleged to have beheaded his spouse, while in the other, a policeman is accused of murdering a 14-year-old child. Justice MacDonald Bishop wanted to know what distinguishes the murder of Clive Lizard Williams, which would cause the prosecution to seem to be prioritizing this case above the others. The senior jurist questioned out loud why the prosecution was placing a higher premium on Williams's murder than in the other cases that were sent back for trial. Justice MacDonald Bishop pointed out that in the other cases, one victim was a female and the other was a child. She wanted to know what would place Williams's case above the other 2, which have yet to be retried. Acting DPP Claudette Thompson told the court that the prosecution was not concerned solely about victims or placing a premium on one murder over another. She told the justices that Kartel's matter could be distinguished from the other 2 because the Crown was ready to proceed and its witnesses were in place. Justice MacDonald Bishop noted that the question she posed was necessary because, should the court order a retrial, it would affect the administration of justice in other matters currently awaiting retrial. The acting DPP told the court that a retrial in the Kartel matter was important due to the seriousness of the murder, the nature of the crime, the prevalence of murder, the strength of the case against the men, and the fact that the witnesses are available. The senior prosecutor also told the court that the public interest in the matter demands that the case be tried on its merits and not merely dismissed on a technicality. Miss Thompson told the judges that the cost of a retrial should not be weighed too heavily because no price should be placed on a citizen's life, regardless of the character of the victim in the matter. The office of the DPP is seeking to retry Vybz Kartel, whose given name is Adidja Palmer, Sean Campbell, Andre St. John, and Kahira Jones for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Williams's body has never been found. The UK-based Privy Council overturned the convictions in March this year due to jury issues in the original trial. The Court of Appeal has indicated it will deliver its ruling as to whether the men will be retried or freed by July 31. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the cartel's defense team has again warned the Court of Appeal to be mindful of the effect that unregulated bloggers may have on how potential jurors may view the case should a retrial be ordered. The team says the publicity the matter has received should rule out any consideration of a retrial. Referencing the popular Bridgerton character Lady Whistledown, Isaac Buchanan told the three judges that anonymous figures often influence opinion and shape social outlook. He warned that online platforms such as Politics Watch have large audiences and often invite the public to view the judicial system with skepticism. Mr. Buchanan says while these online bloggers secure their own privacy by hiding behind anonymous profiles, they often do real harm to the administration of justice. Another member of the defense team, John Clark, accepted that mere publicity is not enough to rule out the possibility of a retrial for his clients, but he says there is significant risk of prejudice in the cartel case as the content from the initial trial was already widely available in the public domain. The Jamaica Constabulary Force says the woman seen in a physical altercation with the police at a primary school in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been charged. The incident occurred on Monday. In a video that has since gone viral, a woman is seen grabbing the uniform of the police woman, who in turn holds on to the woman's hair.
Stop and confirm, please. Mommy, go into the vehicle. They can call them anytime. Go into the vehicle. You're going to the police. Go into the vehicle. No, go in. What should you have? Leg off on me ear. Mommy, why you do that? She don't know right now. She leg off on me ear.
Mr. said do not make any calls. You're under arrest.
I'm not making a call. I'm going to call them.
Miss, what I just
said.
said.
The watch me a turn off. The watch me turning off. Yes, I'm not going to make a call me a turn off the watch. Look and see if I call
I'm going to ensure that I arrest you without bail.
The video then jumps to the woman being pushed into the police vehicle by two members of the JCF. She's then seen trying to prevent the door from being closed. An official report from the Constabulary Force says a team from the Spanish Town Police Station responded to a call from a primary school administrator in the area. The JCF says the school was requesting help to remove a disruptive parent from the compound. However, it says despite multiple attempts to engage the woman peacefully, the situation escalated, resulting in what is caught on video. According to the JCF, the woman was subsequently arrested and charged with assaulting the police and resisting arrest. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Norige Banton. Sports is next.
For better medication management, use RX Pack mobile app powered by Hauntons RX, the convenient pharmacy. Boost your wellness status and earn 20% in your RX Plus digital wallet for all your Hauntons Pharmacies purchases. Download the RX Pack mobile app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. It is easy, secure, and user-friendly. Call or knowledgeable staff on WhatsApp 876-RX0-RXRX and experience our brand of wellness simply delivered. That's RX Pharmacy, the convenient pharmacy, and RX Pack for better medication management. We deliver everywhere. Terms apply.
With so much to do in one location, make Mega Mart your one-stop shop.
Pick up your groceries and houseware needs. Grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
Building wealth the smart way means you have a clear mission for your money. Specific and measurable means defining the reason for your financial goals. Achievable and realistic means keeping those goals meaningful, yet attainable. Think more retirement, less world's richest. Timely means keeping a time frame in mind so that all efforts remain focused.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Shanika Ricketts and Omar McLeod scored victories at the Palva-Nurmi Games, a World Continental Gold meeting in Turkey today. Ricketts secured the women's triple jump with a leap of 14 meters 17, while McLeod, who is making a comeback from a long-term injury, won the 110 meters high hurdles in 13.25 seconds.
Good start from McLeod. McLeod leading the moment, putting pressure on the others. King going well, but also going very well on the far side is Hayden. Or is it Lacker on the far side in black? The rest of them coming through. The Belgian moving through on the near side. The Bakari moving through really nicely. But he takes the win there with a 1.4 win, McLeod.
There was a third Jamaican at the meet, Brittany Anderson, a training partner of McLeod's, and she did 12.93 seconds for fourth in the semi-finals of the women's sprint hurdles, then come back in the final to finish fifth in 12.87 seconds. The world champion of 2019, Nia Ali, won with 12.48.
Good start again from Nia Ali. Nadine Visser not quite on terms with the American at the moment, but the Dutch woman getting flying here over the few hurdles in the middle. Nadine Visser is going to power away, or is she? Nia Ali so strong in the closing.
American track legend Michael Johnson has launched the lucrative new athletics league. Grand Slam Track will aim to bring together the world's elite runners, offering $100,000 as a top prize. Starting in April of 2025, the new format will be to have a prize fund of $12.6 million split over 4 events. Grand Slam Track will feature 4 meetings each year, with 2 hosted in the United States. Athletes will compete in 2 events each, and 48 will be contracted to the league. American superstar Sydney McLaughlin-Livroni, the Olympic and World 400 meters hurdles champion and record holder, has been announced as the first athlete to join the league. Finances in athletics has become a talking point in recent months. The World Athletics announcing in April it would pay prize money to Olympic athletes. Earlier this month, the governing body announced a new global championship to start in 2026, with gold medalists receiving $150,000. World Athletics said its championship would have $10 million available in prize monies. The Diamond League currently offers a $30,000 prize money for the athletes winning an event across its 15 meetings. Johnson says athletes deserve to be compensated. He says the structure of the sport in the past has not compensated those athletes to take that risk to go and compete against the best athletes in the world.
We're seeing the level of investment in sport and interest in sport, at an all-time level. So there has been no better time that I've seen in the last 30 years or so where track and field as a sport is positioned to just explode. And that's what we're doing with Grand Slam Track. And it couldn't be more excited about this particular time. We've got the Olympics coming up here next month in Paris, and then the LA Games coming back here in 4 years. So it's a very, very good time for this.
It's Michael Johnson, one of 3 legendary American MJs behind Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan. All right, the 2016 champions, Portugal, they left it late before ticking the win column in their opening game at the Euro 2024. They beat Czechia, or the Czech Republic, 2-1 in Leipzig this afternoon. Lucas Provode shot Czechia in front 2 minutes after the hour mark, but Portugal equalized through an own goal from Robin Šranak on the 69th minute before Francisco Conceição bagged the winner in added time.
Mendes, it's in! It's a mess of a goal! Mendes
Conceição! Off the bench and into the headlines! One king of the football, and he's won it!
Turkey defeated Georgia by 3-1 in the days of the game. Portmore United forward Alex Marshall says he's looking forward to playing against some of the top players at the Copa America, and it starts June 20 to July 14. The Reggae Boys will open their campaign on Saturday. They take on Mexico in Houston at 8 o'clock Jamaica time. Marshall, who scored 3 goals for former Premier League champions Portmore United, says he's a big fan of the tournament.
I know how big this is. Looking forward to play against great players. Lionel Messi is in the competition as well, and Vinicius. So I'm looking forward to reach that level or that part of the tournament, so we play against them. I'm a huge Messi and Brazil fan, so Copa America is something that I watched growing up, and being here still unbelievable. Like I still can't believe that I'm here. So just as I said, I'm going forward, learning, and hopefully get to play against the greats.
And Marshall says the Jamaican players are acclimatizing well to conditions in Texas.
It's been good. Everyone seems pumped and ready for the first game. It's going good. I'm getting to know each player, because it's the first time seeing someone. I think it's been a good camp so far. We adapting. I'm trying to get acclimatized to the weather. It's a bit hot here, just like Jamaica. But the surface and everything has been good, and the boys, as I said, seem ready for the first game.
That's Alex Marshall. The Jamaica team trained again this morning, and they should all be fully in camp by the end of tonight. I think there was one player left to arrive in Texas with his MLS team. They'll play one game, and then he'll join up with the national team, and they'll be up to full complement, right? The West Indies women suffered a 5-wicket loss to host Sri Lanka in the second one-day international at the Mahinda Rajapaksa International Stadium today. The win gave Sri Lanka an unassailable 2-0 lead in their 3-match series. Chasing 93 for victory, the hosts reached the target with 172 balls to spare. Opener Vishmi Gunaratne hit a runner ball 50, while Kavisha Dilhari made 28 to lead the victory charge. Karishma Ramarak took 2 wickets for West Indies. The Windies were bowled out earlier for 92 in 31 overs. Rashada Williams made 24, Shady Nation 12, Alia Alain 16, Afi Fletcher 16, and standing captain Shameen Campbell 9. Final scores: West Indies women 92, Sri Lanka women 93 for 5. And Ramarak says the batters didn't give the bowlers enough runs to defend.
I think the pitches has something in it for everyone. You get bounce and swing earlier, and when the ball gets older, it offers some grip for the spinners. I also believe once you apply yourself and play proper cricketing shots, you get value for it with the quick outfield. So as I said, I believe there's something in it for everyone. Obviously not scoring enough runs today is where we, went wrong. We played the first game, and so once you pass the gaps, it's a sure boundary. I think we didn't apply ourselves as batters in the middle and spend enough time in order to give the team a decent score to defend.
So Trinidad star Karishma Ramarak. The West Indies will take on England in the first match of the Super 8s at the ICC T20 World Cup in St. Lucia tomorrow night. The West Indies were unbeaten in the group stage. England had 2 wins in the group phase. However, the English have the experience and T20 specialists in the squad who can turn their fortunes around in the second phase. Captain of the West Indies team, Rovman Powell, believes the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia is the best venue to start the second round of the competition.
We always knew that St. Lucia was going to be one of the better wickets to play cricket in the Caribbean, because of our experience during CPL and all the years of playing here. So it's good that we're starting here, and actually we play one game on it before the start of the Super 8s, So we're kind of a little bit accustomed to the bounce and accustomed to the wicket maybe. Hopefully that would suit us a little bit more than the Englishmen.
And Powell says there's literally very little that the teams don't know about each other.
We play the English guys so often, we play them actually every year. So they know a lot about us, we know a lot about them. It's just that when you're playing the game on the day, whoever gets on top have to stay on top for as long as possible.
That's the West Indies captain, Rovman Powell, the man from Old Harbour here in Jamaica. And it's now time for the Nationwide Olympic Fact. It's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that the Olympic torch is a reminder of the game's Greek origins? Yes, that's a fact. In ancient times, a flame burned throughout the games as a tribute to the goddess Hestia. Since 1928, this tradition has continued in the modern games. But instead of an altar, the flame burns in a special torch. The torch flame is always lit by the sun in Olympia, Greece, as this is where the first Greek games was held. Then it's passed from torch to torch in a massive international relay that ends in the host city.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts. Brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
And that's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Touching lives every day, so many different ways, a part of all you do. Sagicor will make you feel secure. Reaching out for more, we'll always see you through. Reach for more, whatever you're dreaming, whatever your goals, will help you achieve them. You're never alone. Taking care of today's needs, take care of tomorrow's dreams. Every day helping you succeed, that's what Sagicor means. Today's needs, tomorrow's dreams.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 5.99%. Conditions apply.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
After months of preparation, Jamaica's top athletes clash at the J3A Puma National Senior and Junior Championship, June 27 to 30. 4 days of intense action will determine who's ready for the Summer Olympics in Paris. Tickets are available at Jamaica Pegasus, National Stadium Ticket Office, and MysticOnlineTix.com. Season ticket finish line, 8,000. Season tickets regular grandstand, 6,500. Daily tickets range from 1,000 to 3,500. Tickets go on sale at the Pegasus and the Stadium Ticket Office, Monday, June 24, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The J3A Puma National Senior and Junior Championships, June 27 to 30 at the National Stadium. It will be sensational.
For better medication management, use RX Pack mobile app powered by Hauntons RX, the convenient pharmacy. Boost your wellness status and earn 20% in your RX Plus digital wallet for all your Hauntons Pharmacies purchases. Download the RX Pack mobile app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. It is easy, secure, and user-friendly. Call or knowledgeable staff on WhatsApp 876-RX0-RXRX and experience our brand of wellness simply delivered. That's RX Pharmacy, the convenient pharmacy, and RX Pack for better medication management. We deliver everywhere. Terms apply.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our friends over on YouTube. Feel free to voice your opinion in our live chat section that we have right here. All right, folks. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the meaning of being Jamaican must form part of the dialogue as conversations on constitutional reform continue. Now, the Constitutional Reform Committee has recommended that to be eligible to serve in Parliament, one must explicitly be Jamaican, excluding Commonwealth citizenship, right? But Speaking Tuesday morning at the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference in Montego Bay, St. James, Mr. Golding says changes must not be exclusionary.
Part of that dialogue must involve a discussion around what it is to be a Jamaican, what it means to be a Jamaican. I personally am of the view that we can't take a myopic, insular approach to this, given the realities of who we are and that we're spread all over the world and how dependent we are on each other. And indeed, Jamaicans on the rock are for our relatives and friends abroad. And our rules around who can participate at whatever level, in my opinion, should reflect that reality and should be inclusive rather than discriminatory or exclusionary. And I'm hoping that we will have that dialogue because it's very important. And we want, insofar as we collectively recognize the importance of the role of our people from all over in helping our nation to develop, that dialogue is an important element of that.
Right, that's the opposition leader, Mark Golding. So in today's public opinion, in light of these words, we ask you, the public, to what extent should the diaspora have a say in the governance of the country?
I'm not going to say we have more voices than the people them that live there, but I'm thinking that we should have some voice though, you know what I mean? Because we have a family and we're still connected to the country. We still have properties and all of these things there. We don't physically live there, but that's our home still. So we still have a little voice down at that, of course. Yeah?
Big voice if you have, big voice. The neighbor stream cut. Not even in Africa where your great come from, you don't have no talk. But where you're born, you have to have some talk.
I would say anywhere between 0 to 5%. What they need to do is to govern their family. That's what they need to do.
It's the same amount of extent that we, the citizens who live here, they have the same amount. All right? They shouldn't have more say than us, and we shouldn't have more say than them. But they should not expect to get special treatment or get advantage in your sayings. No time at all. No time at all.
All right, folks, there you have it. Those are a couple of our responses. Let's go over to X. Let's see what we have here. Griot says on X, to no extent, they should have a say in their adopted countries, get naturalized, register to vote, and have their say where they live. If they return, then they can have a say. Jamaica for Jamaicans. Let those who live there run the country as they see fit. All right, Afghanistan Rasta says, I think they should get a Senate seat which would act as a liaison and represent their views, concerns, and give suggestions. Okay, what else do we have here? Kabale Samosa says, via opinions and suggestions, that is it. We cannot and should not be doing more. Support from a distance. Own property, pay your taxes. The people who choose to live in the country decides. Okay. Elon Musk admirer says, if they have sworn allegiance to another country, then they should not be allowed to participate in especially the voting process. Those with permanent residency and green cards are still eligible to vote and have a say. All right, let's see. Blazing Fire says, people are no longer referred to as immigrants anymore. No matter how small the number is, they are now Diaspora Jamaica. Please remember Merlene Otti in Slovenia too. She's also a member of the Diaspora, and she wants her seat in Parliament to be reserved. Okay. How do I pronounce this? Charis Tachin says, they should have no say. As a matter of fact, we should be looking into whether their buying power is affecting the market value of our real estate. All right, Denise Mackenzie says they can give advice based on their expertise and experience. Shanae says, absolutely none. Our Health, Our World says no more than their present engagement. They are those who come in and vote at elections. And I'm going to read this last one. Penfield says zero say. They know next to nothing about daily life in Jamaica. Just a lot of talk. Let's move over to our Instagram. All right, we have 49 Instagram comments. Can't go through all of them, but we're going to try, yeah? Jet Slate says, none, absolutely no say. They don't live here. Shambhala 1994 says dual citizens should be able to vote because they are essentially Jamaicans. Remittances is also significant to the country economically and where growth is concerned. Most houses being bought and built are by these same individuals, so they are investing significantly in their country. Nathaniel Immortal 777 says 2 seats in the Senate. All right. Wayne Tipsy Campbell says vote and advisory. No decision making though. Will Ryan Wilson says in every aspect. They play a significant role in the growth of our economy, among other things. Let's not kid ourselves. K. Sean says no say unless they are active tax-paying citizens. Anita Beckford says none, simply put. Nurses Services says absolutely. The diasporians should have as much say in their island, Jamaica, that they are part owners of. They are responsible for so much growth in Jamaica. Craigie B. Good says none at all. Jem Jr. says none either. Fletcher Hartman says, which country in the world have people living outside of the country having a say on how the country is governed? None. All right. Sherry Buns says, very little. Them may want to implement some of the foolishness being done in their country. All right. Lennox Sean White says none. Miss Wright 876 says no say at all. All right. I actually went through all of those comments. That's crazy. I thought we'd be there all day. But let's go to Facebook and then let's go to YouTube. It's just reminding you of the public opinion today. To what extent should the diaspora have a say in the governance of Jamaica? Jamrock. Let's take a look at what Facebook have to say. 10 comments on Facebook. Let's try and go through them. King William says they shouldn't have a say in the country because they invest in the country. That means all the other investors should have a say in how the country is run. Okay. Rosalind Buck says if they are not contributing, Jamaicans that live in Jamaica, none. Earl Walters says, none unless they are paying taxes. If they pay taxes, they should be allowed to vote. Christopher Isaacs says, be at liberty to spend or bank your foreign exchange without having to explain its origin. I am a U.S. citizen, so what do you expect? Nothing else. Philip Jackson says, well, to me, they already have a big say because of their remittances to Jamaica. But to take part in the affairs of our country would need more dialogue. We must be guided by principles covered with integrity. Steve Bennett says, well, in Republic of Jamaica, we can what? Some independent Senate in USA, Canada, England, and China. Okay. Anthony Shake says, vote in their country's democracy. Natalie Winter says, yes, diaspora to an extent, reasons being they give back to Jamaica, they provide medical support services and provide remittances, and they build business linkages with the international community. All right, let's go through the YouTube chat now. Let me see how many I can get through before we get out of here. Muscle Burke says, diaspora already running Jamaica. Stronglink says they pay little to no taxes here. They left with their skills to build another country. Omar Clark says none at all. Doreen Johnson says no way. What else we have here? Betsy Powell, none at all. Willow Will says minimal amount of influence. PB says once they swear allegiance to another country, they have no talk in Jamaica's affairs. All right. Leonard Seville says none at all. Mark Golding saying that because he wants to hold on to his British citizenship. All right. What else we have here? Nathan. No. Is this part of it? Are you answering the question? Donna Llewellyn says investment intellect. If they want to build and earn from their investment in the land of wood and water, no decision making where governance is concerned. Donovan Combry says some of these people in the diaspora want to have too much say. They don't live the everyday lives here in Jamaica. Claude West says none, maybe a Senate seat. Leroy Rutty, big up my hearing. Thank you, Leroy. Devon White says, if these people want to have a say, they must come and live here. Can't be double-minded. All right. Charlie's Scoot says, no way, sir. And Calvin Watson says, vote where you live. We need to make more time for the YouTube chat. I'm gonna keep that in mind the next time we do pub up. I'm gonna get through the earlier part quicker so that we can get to the YouTube chat. We can give y'all more of a say because this was a fun public opinion, yeah? A lot of different answers I'm seeing. Some people for, some people against. And I am for the business report because it's next, so we're going to segue right into that. Thank you for participating as always. It's time for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:35.
Don't let poor vision hold your children back. IQ Optical gives complimentary standard reflection-free lenses to children and teachers until May 31. Conditions apply.
The temperature by IQ Optical is...
It is 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston and it's 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, has announced that trading of shares in junior market company iCreate Limited will resume on Wednesday. Trading in iCreate's shares was suspended on January 18. The JSE cited a number of concerns relating to financial reporting, board composition, and voting rights. In a media release on Tuesday, the JSE said iCreate Limited has addressed all outstanding issues that led to the suspension of trading in its shares on the JSE. It says iCreate is now compliant with the rules of the JSE. Netflix is opening massive entertainment venues in 2 cities that it says will allow fans to immerse themselves in the worlds of their favorite shows. The streaming giant says experimental complexes called Netflix houses will include elaborate events, themed gift shops, and restaurants. In a repurposing of empty retail space, the houses will occupy former department store locations at the Dallas Galleria and King of Prussia Mall near Philadelphia in the United States. Netflix says both will span more than 100,000 square feet and are set to open in 2025. And finally, in the currency markets, at the closing of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 37 cents to buy $1 US. It cost 199 Jamaican dollars and 32 cents to buy 1 British pound and 115 Jamaican dollars and 58 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
Does your organization need help to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act? Contact We Manage Trust today at 876-339-5982 or email info@wemanagetrust.com. Let their team help you to achieve compliance with confidence and learn about their tailored MSME packages. We Manage Trust, the data protection experts. Give them a call at 876-339-5982. That's 876-339-5982. Call them today.
The Jamaica Observer is always ahead. But did you know we're also number 1 by far? With over 18 million page views on our website, over 800,000 followers on Instagram, and a following of over 500,000 followers on Twitter.
We're tapping into an audience like no other.
And the numbers don't lie. Contact the Jamaica Observer team today to reach your target audience. Give us a call at 470-9172 to advertise with us.
The number 1 by far.
To seize opportunities on your business horizon, you need tailored financing solutions from a partner that takes the time to understand your business. Sagicor Investments. We offer mid-sized to large corporations the debt and equity financing solutions they need to drive growth. Backed by the strength of Sagicor Group, one of the largest financial conglomerates in the region, you can be confident that we will deliver. Make your business move with Sagicor Investments. Contact our capital markets unit at 888-SAGICOR.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Last week we had a most exciting show talking about whether or not Jamaica's man today is as much a man as he was back in the day, whether or not going forward. The women believe that the men are going to be upstanding men. We also wanted to hear from the men what they think about us in today's world. Well, it's about time we hear the next part. But what should it say again?
Man a man.
Oh?
Up like man.
Oh, well,
Act like man. Man must be here.
No,
Man,
sir.
man must take this
Hold on.
like man. You weak jellyback.
That you say.
Jesus have mercy. Me
Well, all right then.
jellyback man. Me love man. We
But me glad I mean say so.
up like man. We talk like man. We act like man. We behave like man. Man a man.
Who is to be blamed for this failing in fortitude? And if it isn't true, why does this narrative keep getting support from women? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic: is the Jamaican man still upstanding, or has he lost his spine?
Oh, Jesus have mercy.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I have to say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is...
It's 6:41.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're inside the segment called The Nation's Business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Tyrone Reed. Top of the evening to our listeners and our viewers on YouTube.
We're turning our attention now to the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. It's on the way in St. James, and today concludes day 3 of the conference. It's being held at the Montego Bay Convention Center with over 1,000 persons registered for the conference. It's dubbed one of the largest yet. The conference is being held under the theme United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity and Youth Empowerment. It will conclude on Wednesday. Constitutional reform, healthcare reform, the entertainment industry and sports, agriculture and education are among the topics that are being discussed at the conference.
We are a migratory people, and we always have been. And as it stands today, the Jamaicans living abroad constitute more or less a similar number to those living on the rock itself. Our diaspora and the support of our diaspora is absolutely critical to our survival as a nation. They are the largest provider of foreign exchange to our country. They support our balance of payments. They support the value of our currency. And indeed, during the pandemic, when the other critical source of foreign exchange, the tourism industry, basically shut down, Jamaica was able to get through it without any balance of payments or exchange rate crisis because of the stepping up of our diasporans in support of our country.
That's
the
opposition.
There of the opposition leader, Mark Goling. He was applauding members of the diaspora for their contributions to Jamaica, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, he was making the case there that Jamaicans in the diaspora and their support is critical to the survival of the country. In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness used the opportunity to talk about the country's economic growth.
Jamaica has now experienced 12 consecutive quarters of economic growth since the pandemic. It is worth recalling that prior to the pandemic, we enjoyed 20 consecutive quarters of economic growth, and this was the longest unbroken period of economic expansion since our independence. I want to say a little bit on economic growth. Let us all agree that the economic growth that we are experiencing, 1% and 2% and 3%, is not the economic growth that we want. We want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% economic growth.
the voice there of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. To discuss the conference so far, we are now being joined by Senior Vice President of Community Development at Resorts World, Michelle Stoddart, and Diaspora activist, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, Blaine Stoddart. And we are hoping to also be joined by Dr. Hugh Simmons. We're trying to get Dr. Hugh Simmons on the phone. Good evening to both of you. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks. Good evening.
Let's bowl off by asking just to give us, Michelle Stoddart, can you give us your major takeaway from the conference and just your overall assessment of the conference?
To have made the decision to come to the conference this year, I was able to connect with a lot of participants who are coming from all around the globe and are looking forward to learning how to become investors in this country that we all used to call home, and also for people learning about the opportunities that are here. With each visit, we see the country moving forward, moving with more development, moving with more opportunities, and the diaspora who have been, as the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition said, have been supporting the country for years. We are very pleased with what we're seeing, and we want to do more. So this conference is giving us the opportunity to see what's available, how we can participate in the different sectors, and I'm really just happy that all of this is on display and we're able to learn of the opportunities that are available.
Mm-hmm. Blaine Stoddart, we're having in Jamaica a national dialogue, a national conversation, and Michelle spoke just now about the contribution that members of the diaspora make to Jamaica and how passionate you all are about that contribution. The conversation in Jamaica now is essentially the role that members of the diaspora should play in our politics. And I wondered if you had any thoughts on how the government in this constitutional reform process could go about including members of the diaspora more.
Again, I want to say this, that 2 weeks ago there were 250 people registered at the conference, and in typical Jamaican style, we all registered at the last minute, including me. I registered on Saturday, and we had over 1,100 people at the conference, which made it a success. So, from this lessons learned, you need to register earlier. So that's number one. And I want to second what Michelle said, that we are trying to find ways to invest in Jamaica and become more significant in Jamaica. I think the country with the most activist diaspora in the world is Israel. So the question then becomes, how do we become like Israel, where we can invest in the country, have dual citizenship? Your question is, what role can we play politically? I now strongly feel that Jamaicans with dual citizenship, if they're willing to live and invest in Jamaica, they should be able to run for public office, including the office of the Prime Minister. And I never felt that way before. But the society is becoming so global that you cannot kick us off the rock when we are the largest investors on the rock, larger than tourism. And I know people get upset when we say, and I saw some social media about barrels and all that kind of stuff. Forget barrels. The diaspora is the largest investment vehicle and the largest foreign currency investor of U.S. dollars, British dollars, and Canadian dollars in this economy. Without the diaspora, this economy would crash completely. I'm getting excited, so please stop me.
No, I'm going to stop you because I hear my fellow and our fellow Jamaicans listening, and they're saying to themselves, okay, fine. Yes, the investment is significant. Yes, you are passionate about Jamaica. But why not make that ultimate declaration of loyalty by giving up the dual citizenship and living here, as you say, and running for office and running for Prime Minister? Wouldn't that be the ultimate expression of loyalty?
I think the issue is, for most countries, you have to be born there. And I think that's the main issue. I think to run for the highest offices in this country, you should be a born Jamaican. However, the society is so global, and there's such movement of information and movement of money and movement of people that if somebody were to have a dual citizenship but declare their loyalty to Jamaica, I feel it's completely appropriate for them to run for public office. And again, that is just my opinion. You asked me my opinion.
No, that's fine. Yes, absolutely.
In an honest manner.
A very robust defense there from you, Mr. Stoddart. And I'd love to Michelle to come in on this point as well. There are those who dismiss that claim. They say, yes, the numbers are accurate, but the characterization is inaccurate. You're sending majority of people who send those funds from overseas send them to their relatives here. They're looking out for their relatives. It's not some national endeavor. How do you respond to that, Michelle Stoddart, if you share the view of Blaine?
I actually do share the view of Blaine, but if we flip it back...
One second, Sir Blaine. After Lady Michelle responds, then you can come back in.
Sure. So I actually do agree with Blaine. I do not have an issue with someone having a dual citizenship as the world becomes more global. There are a lot of reasons why you could have dual citizenship. Your family is in one place and your heart is in the next. So I would not particularly argue with that part. But when you talk about the investment or the money, and it brings up an argument about, we're just sending barrels back. No. People own homes here. That's an investment. People own businesses here. That's an investment. People are importing and exporting with the country. That is an investment. So I'm not sure what people are not seeing. The people who are only talking about barrels, maybe that's all they're getting. But there is a significant amount of business being done in the country and a lot of investment, and they should look at that appropriately.
Blaine, I don't think they're just referencing in their attempt at dismissing the argument. They're talking about remittances, I gather, in particular as well, not necessarily just barriers. But Blaine, how do you respond to that? They're saying you're not really. It's not a national thing that the diaspora is doing in large measure. They're just looking out for their loved ones.
Right. So again, I'm an economist by trade. I went to the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, which is the #1 business school in the United States. The Wharton, Wharton. You can Google it. And my major is economics. The major source of GDP, the largest source of GDP, is consumer spending. And so when we send money to our friends and relatives in Jamaica, it's most of the time being spent on consumer spending. So which means that we're contributing to the largest contributor of GDP. So that's my answer to that we're doing consumer spending. Consumer spending.
So you're sending is immaterial. Basically, is your argument. The reason the money is being sent back is immaterial.
The reason the money.
I'm sorry. I'm saying the reason the money is being sent back is immaterial. That's what you're. Is that a reasonable argument to put forward to those who are trying to dismiss the impact of the remittances? Because the fact is, the numbers are significant when one looks at remittances, right? And the contribution of the impact on the economy that can't be debated. But there are those who are saying you're not really doing it as a national issue. But you're saying that is immaterial. The impact of what is sent back is significant, and that can't be denied.
Jamaica is one of the top 10 remittance countries in the world. I'm sorry, Michelle, were you saying something?
No, I was asking the question that if that large number in terms of remittance is being deemed, I don't know, irrelevant and not national, what would they want the diaspora to do that they would consider to be a national impact? What are the things?
A good question, and a good question to put to those who are offering that as an argument. But if you'd allow me this other question, I would love to hear from both of you, because there's protests that are transpiring overseas. Members of the diaspora protesting, and then there are those who are protesting against those who are protesting. I'd love to hear you on this, Sir Blaine. Do you think there should be any concern or fear for those who are in Jamaica that there might be a politicization of the diaspora? Do you think that is a reasonable fear for some who are looking on and trying to assess what is happening?
Michelle, you want to go for it?
I would think that there is a split and a fight over the word diaspora at this time. There is definitely politics at play. I would hope that would be squashed, because that is in no way, shape, or form helping the country, either side of the coin. So I would hope either it gets exposed for what it is, or it goes away on its own. Because we have to get back to the good work that was being done with this conference today, and we have to move forward together.
And when you say a fight over the word diaspora, what do you mean exactly?
Well, you just said there are people who are saying the diaspora is only doing barrels, right? And then there are people who are saying that the diaspora should not be involved in politics, or there are people saying that they should be involved in politics, when all the diasporas that have ever known themselves to be doing is helping their home, right? So for somebody who has lived outside of the country for over 30 years, everything I want to do is to help where I would call home in my heart. So there's no fight for me. There's no argument, right? Show me the way. Show me what it is you want, and the diaspora will come together and make it happen.
Do you feel alienated by the voices that suggest that, you know, the members of the diaspora shouldn't have an active role in the governance of the country?
Yes. I'm not understanding why that would be a thought process, because when the country is in trouble, I feel like we're going to be called on.
How would you respond to those who say because you've chosen another country, Ms. Stoddard? How would you respond to those who would say you had a choice and you chose another country to live in, to pledge allegiance to? How would you respond to those who offer that as a reason why you shouldn't be allowed to participate in the governance of the country?
The difference between me choosing to live somewhere else, if the country says the politics is that I must come home to be involved in the politics, I think that's a reasonable thing to say, right? It's a reasonable thing to say. And one can choose to come back. But then if one chooses to come back, we're going to have an argument about, oh, but you were away, even if I was taken away as a child when I didn't have a choice, right? So we have to be a little more open-minded to the entire process, and we have to be less judgmental about it, and we have to, again, look at what is going to help the country as a whole. Because just in the sheer fact that we have numbers saying there are more people, more Jamaicans, or more people claiming to be Jamaicans outside of the country than inside of the country, what sense does it make to reject all these people? Please tell me.
Mr. Stoddart, I'd love to hear you on the politicization question. Is there a reasonable fear now, based on what we see playing out, that the diaspora is being politicized?
Yeah, I'm gonna address all three or four questions that you asked, and I'm gonna go quickly, and then hopefully you'll have some more juicy questions for me. The diaspora contributes over $3.3 billion a year. It's the largest foreign exchange. We're the largest foreign exchange contributor to Jamaica. There's a song that says, when I was a kid, I'm on Banya, I'm on Regina, I left out to go to America, right? So I think that's the question on the table. The issue with Jamaicans going to foreign countries is internal to Jamaica. There is the economy is not large enough to absorb 6 million or 6 or 7 million people looking for jobs. The Jamaican economy does not produce that many jobs, and so we've had immigration since the 40s and 50s, and it will continue because the economy cannot absorb all the kids coming out of school or adults over 18 looking for work. You asked about other contributions by the diaspora. If there was a Jamaica diaspora bond, which we've talked about for the past 10 years, we believe that the diaspora would invest in it like the Israeli bond. The fourth thing, the politicalization of the diaspora. I am a free speecher. I repeat, I believe in free speech. So the people that are protesting in the diaspora, they have a right to protest. Those of us that are not protesting and working to improve Jamaica and the education and healthcare and economy here, like myself and Michelle, we will keep doing that. So the question is, who is going to win out? We believe that the people that are going to be here long term and contributing to the Jamaican economy are the people willing to work. The people willing to put in the work will be successful. Will the government deal with the protesters and maybe meet with them and come to some agreement and get them back on board? Maybe, I don't know. But long term, to move this country forward, even if we disagree, we must be working for Jamaica, and that is my
Should
opinion.
they meet with them? Should they meet with them? I'm happy you raised that. Should they meet with them to settle the impasse?
I think that the consulates and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that's in their portfolio. And I think it would be good to meet, because then if you meet with them, and I know people are going to say, well, you're making them legitimate if you meet with them. But it doesn't matter. People are going to protest all the time, and leaders are going to meet with them to see if there can be some compromise or some coming to a mutual understanding, because maybe some of these people can actually contribute instead of protest. Protesting may just be bad energy.
Ricardo, do we have time for one more? I just have one more. Do we have time for one more?
Go ahead.
Let me ask both of you. You've been to the conference. I asked for your assessment of the conference. My final question with regards to the conference to both of you would be this. Do you think this conference managed to move the needle forward in a tangible way on the most pressing issues facing the diaspora, the issues those big ticket items that you have? Lady Michelle, if we can hear you first, and then we'll hear from Mr. Stoddart afterwards as well. Do you think the conference moved the needle in a tangible way on any of these big ticket items that you have?
As we had pointed out, we had 200 and change registered. And as the weeks moved, the needle moved, and more people, registered and got involved. So we ended up with over 1,000 people coming. And I believe out of that 1,000, each of the vendors there, each of the investment opportunity folks that were there will be able to report success and positive results. In terms of the issues, I think all the speakers and all the sessions that we have were extremely informative. There were always good questions during the Q&A. And so everything that I've seen points to this being successful, not just for the participants, but for the country overall. I believe the business that will transpire afterwards will definitely be something positive for the country.
Brian Stoddard?
Yeah, I think that most of the work, there's a lot of work leading up to the conference, but the proof in the pudding is what happens after the conference. And I'm hoping that somebody from the Minister of Foreign Affairs is listening and can respond to me. I don't know if I'm allowed to give out my email, but I'm hoping that one of the things that we do is to send out a memo, that the Minister of Foreign Affairs send out a memo to release people's our names, our organization, and our email. People don't want to release their cell phones. But again, for the conference to have the impact that we want, we must be able to work together collectively and contact people and network after the conference. And to do that, we need to send out a memo to everyone that attended the conference asking for permission to release their name, the name of their organization, and their email so that we can be in touch with each other. One of the issues with the conference, and sir, I gave the first opening speech in 2004 in front of Prime Minister P.J. Patterson at the Kingston Conference Center. And here I am 20 years later, and I still don't know who I'm talking to. So we need to figure out a way to release the emails and the organizations of the conference attendees so that we can get in touch with each other and build momentum. So in 2 years, I'm working on Hope Gardens. I can come back with a report on what we have done at Hope Gardens. There are people working on education, medical equipment, dealing with trauma and counseling for children because there's violence in the schools right now. But we are not able to work in a massive collective way because we don't know each other and we can't get in touch with each other. We're working in silos, and that has to end.
We have to leave it there. Diaspora activist, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, Blaine Stoddard, I think I said Brian. My apologies. Senior Vice President of Community Development Resource World, Michelle Stoddard. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Indeed.
Thank you.
All right. All the best.
Have a good one. Ricardo, I think he makes a very, very, very crucial point towards the end there. The groupings may be too splintered at the moment for them to be as effective
as they need to be.
So you want to have a massive body known as whatever they decide to call it, and you have the various arms from the various countries and the various parts of the countries in which they might live. But there needs to be that umbrella grouping that you can have subcommittees that look at education, that look at crime, and so on.
So to ensure that the execution happens and you don't have this conference being just a talk shop. I agree.
Indeed.
I agree with him on that score.
Indeed. A valid point.
We're up on the break, listeners. We're going to take the break. And after the break, we'll have a rebroadcast of Nature's Remedies. Unfortunately, Doc isn't feeling 100 tonight. She sends her love. We're going to have a rebroadcast after the break.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is...
It's 9 minutes after 7.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 25th staging of the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards, the Caribbean's
premier culinary event powered by MasterCard takes place Thursday, June 27th, Devon House. The one-night-only evening of excellence in food creation, service and event decor is sponsored by Tasty, Tourism Enhancement Fund, Breast Strike, Johnny Walker, Sagicor, The Best Dressed Chicken, Appleton Estate, Pepsi, Suppligen, Eve, Gold Silver Cinco, Rainforest, Main Event, Island Car Rentals, King Alarm, Megamart and Derriman Trading. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
This is a rebroadcast of Nature's Remedies.
Nature's Remedies is brought to you by Earth Elements, natural and organic products for the consciously beautiful.
Good God of mercy, hey. Good God of grace, hey. Lord of mercy, hey. Spirulina build up me confidence.
6 minutes after 7, and it's time for my favorite segment, and I know it's a favorite segment of many of you. It's time for Nature's Remedies. This is the program to educate you about the uses of natural herbs. Tonight, we'll be talking about a very important topic: erectile dysfunction and prostate health. As usual, we'll be opening the lines so you can call in with any questions you may have for our resident pharmacognosist, Dr. Denise Daly. Good evening, Doc.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Cliff, and our listeners. How are you today?
Doing very well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well as well. Thank you.
And looking forward to the discussion.
Indeed.
Ricardo was telling me very timely.
I was not telling you anything. I have not had no conversation with him, Doc, about this segment.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine,
But please, provide us an overview of what happens when a gentleman cannot rise to the occasion.
Yes. So we'll be going into erectile dysfunction. Another name, we'll say impotence. And what causes it? How can we fix it? How can we prevent it? Now, erectile dysfunction is when the penis will not stand up or become erect when needed for copulation, for having sex, etc. And what causes the penis to stand up is actually the blood rushing to the penile muscles through the blood vessels, etc., and having it to stand up. In Jamaica, we'll say the front end lifter. There are different foods we can incorporate into our diet.
The front end lifter.
Front end lifter.
8 minutes after 7, Doc. That is crazy to say on the radio. The front end lifter.
Okay. So it helps to enhance the penis to stand.
I love this segment.
Yes, that are very good.
Yes, Doc.
We're not at the watershed hour yet here, Doc, please.
Front end. Somebody put it on a shirt.
And there are foods and there are herbs that can help. But a little bit about erectile dysfunction. There are so many men experiencing erectile dysfunction. It can be primary erectile dysfunction or secondary erectile dysfunction. Primary meaning it is more of a medical condition where you need medication or you need surgery. And it can be various reasons. We'll get into that in a few. Secondary, oftentimes it's very temporary. It goes with what's happening inside of the body or inside of the head. And it's very treatable. And they can get over it.
So the secondary type is, for example, if there's anxiety, for example, or they might be stressed.
Yes. That's indeed. And it's often, we're finding it more common nowadays versus your primary erectile dysfunction. Now, a study showed that 30 million men worldwide develop erectile dysfunction every year. 30 million. So it's very common within our men. Now, 325 million are projected to be affected by 2025. And that's the prevalence we're seeing nowadays. So men really need to know, look at our health. How can we enhance our health? How can we de-stress, reduce that anxiety, that depression? The weight. Weight also plays a significant role in causing erectile dysfunction.
You can lock off Cliff Mike Buggles. Dinner. This is a serious conversation. Can you take him out of the studio? I want to ask you, Doc.
What have I said?
Let me ask you, Doc. How is it diagnosed? Is it that it has to happen over a particular period of time, or once there is a single failing, then we say there is erectile dysfunction?
Once it's happened on occasion, then you make note. If it keeps happening over a period of time, then it's note for concern. Something is happening inside of the body, and you need to either go to a doctor and check it out, or you start taking care of your health. In fact, it's erectile dysfunction, or the penis, is often referred to as the barometer, men's barometer. It checks the heart health because it's so related to your blood vessels and your heart health. If you have damaged blood vessels or blocked blood vessels, it can affect your penis standing up as well.
Because the amount of blood required for the job isn't getting where it needs to be.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So damaged blood vessels or blocked blood vessels can also affect the erection from happening. So it is important to exercise. Exercise gets rid of atherosclerosis. That's when your arteries start getting blocked. Reduce the weight by doing being as active as possible. You can also look at certain foods. You want food that are high in L-arginine. That's a type of amino acid. You want that. You get that from your meats. We can also get it from your pumpkin seed. Right? You have quite a few seeds you can get it from. But pumpkin seed is very accessible and it's convenient. And if you roast the pumpkin seed, you have even more L-arginine concentration that you can have as a part of your diet. So blend it up in your smoothies, add it to your porridge, and that will help. If you're not a meat eater, then some of your processed, like your tofu, your tempeh, etc., will have some of your L-arginine. But you can use your pumpkin seed as well.
So hold on, the pumpkin seed in your juice, you roast it still, or you just blend it as part of it?
You can just, once pumpkin seed you have it, you just get more when it's roasted. So if you have fresh pumpkin seed, you can blend it in your smoothies or your porridge or your juice.
Okay.
And you can have the roasted, you just get a little more. It's a higher concentration being available.
Okay.
And what it does, the pumpkin seed, it promotes the release of nitric oxide. It's a compound that's very good with causing the blood vessels to relax, vasodilation, and that helps reduce blood pressure as well. So it's very good in a lot of your blood pressure medications and with your erectile dysfunction medications. As we can get it from your food.
And Doc, obviously there's a social side to this because especially in Jamaica, it's deeply embarrassing. The men say, that the women will laugh at them. The younger men say the women take it into their group chats and they discuss it, and it becomes a point of significant embarrassment. In terms of, I know we're talking about the herb, but in terms of just how to deal with it socially, what would you advise the men?
That is true, because I was looking at a lot of the research to see how do men deal with erectile dysfunction, and a lot of men don't speak about it. When the occasion happens, there is that sense of embarrassment. And they also go through that anxiety and depression and stress period, which also allows it to continue. So one of the first steps is to start exercising. Cold showers help. Get some cold shower. It forces the blood to rush to the penis as well. Exercising and start eating healthier. So incorporate these things. When you want to have an increase in your polyphenols and your tannin, those sour and bitter herbs, these also help to promote antioxidants and repair blood vessels. So wherever the damage is in the body, then physically or physiologically, improving your lifestyle, reduce the smoking or remove it altogether, the alcohol, the fatty foods, the fast foods, remove and reduce the refined sugars. We know all those things. They're not helping our blood vessels, so it will not help during those times. Socially, again, women, tend to don't know how to handle it. You want to be kind, some may be angry, but at the end of the day, it's, is it a close relationship? How does it work? So it's really dependent on the situation, if it was a relationship bound or just a single, let's try this out. But anxiety is a big part of the psychological cause, which is temporary. So as soon as that is fixed, they can get back to business.
Yeah. All right. Hold it there for us, Doc. It's a Nature's Remedies listeners. We're talking erectile dysfunction and prostate health. Soon come.
So you know I'll be spending every dollar out on me billfold. A buckle of the green and it make me clean. So me skill like Alan still cold.
Touching lives every day, so many different ways, a part of all you do. Sagicor will make you feel secure, reaching out for more, will always see you through. Reach for more, whatever you're dreaming, whatever your goals, will help you achieve them. You're never alone. Taking care of today's needs, take care of tomorrow's dreams. Every day helping you succeed, that's what Sagicor means. Today's needs, tomorrow's dreams. Sagicor.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 5.99%. Conditions apply.
Presenting another finalist in the 2024 Jamaica Festival Song Competition.
Hey Jamaica, this is Sister Novelet. My song is Feel Me Island Home.
It's all about Jamaica, Feel Me Island Home. No matter where I go, back to my land I come. It's all about Jamaica, Feel Me Island
Jamaica Festival 2024.
Last week we had a most exciting show talking about whether or not Jamaica's man today is as much a man as he was back in the day, whether or not going forward. The women believe that the men are going to be upstanding men. We also wanted to hear from the men what they think about us in today's world. Well, it's about time we hear the next part. But what should it say again?
Man a man.
Oh?
Like man.
Oh, where
Act like man. Man must be here.
No.
Man must take this.
Hold on.
Like man. You weak jellyback.
That you say.
Jesus have mercy.
Well, alright then.
Jellyback man. Me love man. We
but me glad I me say so.
Like man. We talk like man. We act like man. We behave like man. Man a man.
We is to be blamed for this failing in fortitude. And if it isn't true, why does this narrative keep getting support from women? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic: is the Jamaican man still upstanding, or has he lost his spine?
Oh, Jesus have mercy!
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Dr. Daly is a former program director for the College of Health Sciences at the University of Technology and currently serves as a part-time lecturer. She does seminars on corporate wellness and team building strategies and health and wellness in the workplace. She also offers lifestyle and wellness coaching and offers personalized wellness packages. Dr. Daly is also the co-owner and founder of Nasare R&M Company Limited. All natural skincare products are available for customers. They also do private labeling and customized skincare packages. She can be contacted by email at drdenisedaily@gmail.com for bookings and consultations. She can also be found on Instagram and Facebook at Dr. Denise Daly.
Good God have mercy. Hey, good God have mercy.
Welcome back to Nature's Remedies. We're talking about erectile dysfunction and prostate health. We have with us our resident pharmacognosist, Dr. Denise Daly. Doc, let's talk prostate health now. What should men be aware of, on the lookout for, where that's concerned?
So the prostate is a significant part. Well, all parts are significant in the male reproductive system, but the prostate helps with the overall function of the penis, seminal fluid, semen formation, sperm formation, overall health. Medically, we know we should be testing our prostate after a certain age, but men tend to fear. What But at this stage, I'm hoping more persons are aware and are willing to try. There are herbs that we can use to ensure that our health is as ideal as possible, but it does not negate getting tested. Guinea hen weed research has shown significant changes with prostate cancer cells in reducing and causing them to pop. They call it apoptosis, anti-proliferation, preventing them from growing. Those have shown significant results in the lab. So having some guinea hen weed root as a part of your herbal teas per week is very good. Just get 1 teaspoon if it's a tea bag, make it in some water, boil it a bit, allow it to steep, and you can have a guinea hen root tea. Or the entire plant. Have you ever tried the guinea hen weed tea?
No.
Not yet?
No.
You have to try it and let me know how it tastes.
You can get it at the supermarket or what? You can get it.
Can. We have it as in different forms. Different companies have the tea bags. I know Tops Teas have it. Guinea hen weed tea. You can get it at a herbal food store as well, and you can get it outside your yard. Always check to see is the right plant you're getting. It smells like garlic, and it takes a long time to get rid of it if you don't dig up the root. So it's a good opportunity. Dig up the root from your lawn, wash it, and prepare some tea.
Oh, that's it there. Oh,
yeah.
I have it at home.
Everything in
the
here.
entire leaf it can boil.
Okay, I didn't know.
Just pull up the entire thing.
Including the thorns. That's the thorn.
Yeah, aerial portion and the root. They both have in DTS.
Oh, okay.
That's a sulfide compound. That's very potent.
And you boil it or you dry it?
You boil it. It's harder. It's a harder bark if you use the entire aerial parts and the root. If it's just the leaf, you can dry it.
Okay.
You want as much of your DTS. Most of the DTS is found in the root. That's the anti-cancer compound, the prostate help. And there are quite a few tonics that have guinea head weed in it as well.
Doc, I want to take you back to the matter of the testing, because you mentioned that Jamaican men are usually fearful to get prostate tests. And I imagine that's because originally that test involved a finger.
Yes.
But my understanding is that has changed.
It has. So once they go to the doctor, you don't have to think about the finger aspect anymore. There are blood tests and different technologies that can determine the concentration of different biomarkers, so they can tell.
Yeah.
So no need to fear anymore. Technology and science is helping to make the process easier.
And at what age
should
men start getting their prostate checked?
Usually it's over 40.
Yeah.
More and more lifestyle diseases are creeping below 40. So bear that in mind. If you have some other type of pre-diabetes or marginal hypertension or anything like that, start getting tested and start looking at lifestyle changes. 20 minutes of exercise, doing some walking, etc. And watch what you eat.
Yeah. And the blood tests are just as good in measuring what they call the PSA levels, right?
Yes. Yes.
And obviously, the women who are in these men, their lives, they have a role to play. How do the women talk the men into it? Because oftentimes it's because the woman say, "Come, time to go to the doctor." That the man moves. What does the woman need to be saying?
That is it. Because men don't tend to go to the doctor. They wait until the last minute. A majority wait until the last minute, or the pain is excruciating, or the women in their lives are now seeing the difference. So it's important that at a certain point, ladies just start saying, I book a checkup. We're going next week, Wednesday. And make it a part and be there for them. Because as tough as our men are, sometimes they're really scared to go to the doctor and hear bad news. So they tend to just stay away from it and deal with it.
No, they try to think that they're dealing with it by not knowing.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's important to get that done. As another method is prevention and being healthy. Herbal teas. So we have a lot. We spoke about sexual health and around getting increased stamina and so on. Raw moon Trophis racemosa.
What is that?
That plant, also called raw moon, Ramoon, or raw moon literally, or white moon. It's a tree. It's found in our tropical region. So from Mexico all the way to Brazil, within that tropical, subtropical, Caribbean islands, you can find raw moon or Trophis. This plant is added to almost all of our root drinks that we have in Jamaica. We have so many different types of root tonics. Raw moon is one of those herbs. It is in the Moraceae family. So if you think of your fig, your mulberry, your breadfruit, it's in the same family. Bread nut, it's in the same family. So it's a significant tree. It can be up to 10 to 20 meters high or tall. High. And we tend to use the leaf, the bark, the stem, the root. All parts of the tree is medicinal. It's a good astringent herb, so it helps to remove secretions and help with getting the blood vessels healthier. It's good with diarrhea. It's also good with if you have any stomach discomfort as well. And the leaves especially are very good with fatigue. So if you're feeling overly tired and distressed and anxiety, some raw moon leaf is very good to help with that. For men's health, if you want to increase fertility or increase your sperm count and getting back that libido drive, it's an aphrodisiac. The roots and the bark have significant amount of the active compounds, your polyphenols, your flavonoids, which promote blood vessel flow and repair. And you tend to see a lot of the bark and the root in our tonic drinks.
Carlene Smith on YouTube is asking you, Doc, what herbs are good for high cholesterol?
This one helps with atherosclerosis, so it helps to reduce high cholesterol. Your dandelion, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, good with cholesterol. Activated charcoal and your fiber. Activated charcoal, again, get some capsules, follow the instructions on the container, or you can get half a teaspoon in some water and drink. It helps to reduce cholesterol. Whatever meal you have, it removes it when it exits the body. And fiber is a good method, a good dietary plan to always include fiber into your diet, whether it's psyllium powder or Beni fiber, or just getting your buckwheat or your millets or give me some more fiber foods, your brown bran foods. They help with reducing your cholesterol, high cholesterol. Moringa, quick grab herbs, your moringa, your neem, turmeric. You can find and access those, it helps.
Yeah. Doc, so we know that sometimes when men, for example, use Viagra, it may have effects that last quite a while. Is there any such risk with using herbs?
No. When you think of your tonic drink, you normally get the dose. So you either 1 teaspoon with 1 cup of water, or if you're making a whole batch, you get like 1 cup of your herbs or 1 cup of each of the different herbs and put it in a quarter or so of water, boil it, make a bottle of tonic, and you take your 1 tablespoon or so twice a day. So following those doses, your body gets the benefits of using the herbs and you're not overdoing or getting it overused. However, there have been instances when men start use like the Jamaican stone. Remember stone? Or the Chinese brush. Yes, Chinese brush. Now these are also herbs. The Jamaican stone is Unicaria. Yes, Unicaria is a Chinese cat claw. It's an exudate. And they put it on and it caused an extended erection. Sometimes it takes us a while for them to go down and it can be painful. So there are cases where overuse can cause an extended erection and can be painful. And then they literally have to calm down, do the cold bath, etc. to try and get it done.
Trouble, did they? Kirk Buchanan is asking you, Doc, what's good for fatty liver?
Fatty liver remove, if the person is a drinker, you have to stop drinking alcohol, because your liver is your first source. After you eat, the food goes to your liver for processing. So the liver is that monitoring system within our body. It's the largest organ inside our body, and it filters and it converts any toxins that we take in. Now, alcohol, when it goes in, it has a significant part of its structure, almost all of it, that converts it to carbohydrate. What do we do with carbohydrate? We store it. When we store it, then we turn it into fat as well when we store it, after storing it as energy. So it continues to deposit into our liver. So that's one significant source of fatty liver. Outside of that, different lifestyle issues can also cause it. And herbs, such as some of your astringent herbs, will help, like your neem, your turmeric, the dandelion, busy. So these herbs that are very potent, astringent, anti-inflammatory, they help with fatty liver. However, you have to be consistent.
Hold it for us, Doc.
Apart.
We're up on the break. Stay with us. We're going to get a cold shower.
Rastafari run the continent. This King Selassie, you pay the consequence. Don't get it confused.
Last week we had a most exciting show talking about whether or not Jamaica's man today is as much a man as he was back in the day, whether or not going forward the women believe that the men are going to be upstanding men. We also wanted to hear from the men what they think about us in today's world. Well, it's about time we hear the next part. But what should it say again?
Man a man.
Oh,
Like man.
oh, well,
Act like man. Man must be here.
no.
Man must take this
Hold on.
like man. You weak jelly back.
That you say.
Jesus have mercy.
Well, all right then.
Jelly back man. Me love man. We
But me glad I me say so.
like man. We talk like man. We act like man. We behave like man. Man a man.
Who is to be blamed for this failing in fortitude? And if it isn't true, why does this narrative keep getting support from women? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic: is the Jamaican man still upstanding, or has he lost his spine?
Oh, Jesus have mercy.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Experience Jamaica's Olympic triumphs in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Petrojam E1087 Gas Promotion, serving Jamaica's energy needs.
Usain Bolt won his second gold medal of the Beijing Olympics and Jamaica's 10th overall when he ran a world record of 19.30 seconds to win the men's 200 meters final.
You just experienced a Jamaican Olympic triumph in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Petrojam E1087 Gas Promotion, serving Jamaica's energy needs.
Good God have mercy, ay. Good God have grace, ay. Lord have mercy, ay. Spurlina build up my confidence.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're inside the segment called Nature's Remedies. We're discussing erectile dysfunction and prostate health. As usual, we have with us Dr. Denise Daly. The numbers to call are 630-9371 to 4-618-8255. Carlene, I see Carlene on YouTube asking again about cholesterol. Doc did answer that question, Carlene, so you can just jump back on the stream, rewind, and you'll hear that answer. I saw one about cancer, Doc.
What's good for cancer?
Cancer, yes.
Anti-cancer herbs, again, these have been tested in the lab. Like guinea hen weed, your turmeric, the search me heart, that's a good one as well. And you have quite a few combinations that help to reduce cancer growth. So it depends. And as I usually tell others that reach out, you want to look at complementary treatment. If you have cancer, you go to the doctor, you have to just deal with it right away and use that as a part of your herbs, as a part of your recovery from it. Use it as a part of your prevention, but always look at the best first method to get the cells out of the system, because they grow faster than our normal cells.
Wow.
And herbs tend to get our body adaptogenic mode. So it repairs and it fixes and then it starts getting rid of the cells. So it's a little slower. So if you can get them out and then start recovering and changing your diet, etc.
Yeah. First call for you tonight, Doc, is from Richard. Good evening, Richard.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Doc.
Good evening.
Good evening, Richard.
Doc, when I was a boy, my grandmother used to give me Ramgo Dashal and said cold medicine, but when I grew up, I heard it's a stimulant. Is that so?
Yes, it is. It's very good for men. It is also good for the bronchial. We spoke about Ramgoat weeds in a couple of weeks. So it's good for the lungs, your chest, cold and cough. But it's also a tonic for men. So grandma was helping to make sure the stamina grows up with you.
Understood.
While treating the cold.
Yes, but in order to get the full benefit from herbs, how long should one take it for? Is there a set period of time?
Some herbs you can have it every day, similar to peppermint, your ginger tea, your lemon tea, your soursop, or your lime leaf tea. While other herbs are a little stronger. So the stronger the herb taste is, the more potent the medicinal component. So neem is very strong. You don't want to have it every single day for 3 months or 2 weeks without water, etc. So if you're having neem, you can have it every day. If it's a tea bag amount, 1 teaspoon in water, and then you rest the following week. No neem. Okay. Or if you have it every other day, then you just give your body time to recover, your liver time to detox and to use the compounds. Lighter herb. Go ahead.
I'm saying I appreciate the information.
Oh, you're most welcome. Lighter herbs, you can have it every day, like your mint tea and your moringa.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for enlightening my ignorance, Doc, and I appreciate it.
All right, Richard.
Welcome.
Good.
Take care.
William.
Good night, Cliff. Good night, Ricardo. Good night, Doc.
Hello, William.
Good night, William.
Yeah, I heard a touch of herb, Doc. And believe you me, it's one of the main things I was going to call out this evening about the Ramon.
Yes.
Because when I was a child, I remember whenever I used to drink it, but I remember my auntie husband used to have ass. And them all the actors would break it and ask them. So as you think about it, must can drink also.
Oh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost every evening we have to climb the tree and break them down and give the ass them when you bring them in. So I did plan to ask, what more benefit as human can get out of it, but now you explain to us.
It's very good as animal fodder. So that is true. And especially when it's breeding season. If you don't give them, they go and find it.
Right. Yeah, because more time them all walk on and it can stand up, so we realize it them want.
Yes.
So we have to break it and give them.
Yes, man.
Yeah. And the other thing with the prostate. Yeah, man, I don't think people supposed to be coward enough to do the test, because as I said, the blood test, it's very, very normal and easy. And the blood test, I think it even gives you a better test more than the finger.
Yes.
Because they pick up more things out of the blood more than normally the finger. The finger will for sure that if the glands raise or just normal. But when you do the blood test, it can show you a lot more things out of it. So I don't think people should be fear. So Brother Cliff, enough of fear.
All right, thank you so
much. Thank you, William.
Yeah, but before I go,
yes.
with the pumpkin seed, Doc, What I realize, some people know them blend the belly, everything together. So I just want to find out if that is really, good or just a seed.
The belly is also good because it's rich in vitamins and minerals, and you have your beta carotene. That's the yellow medicine from your food and your herbs.
Right, because I realize that some people blend everything, so I just want to get it from you still.
But the shell of the seed can be it can be very rough, especially if it's a lot of seed in that pumpkin. So you don't want too much of the outside part of the pumpkin seed. Because when you buy pumpkin seed, you usually take it out of that shell and you have the little part. The pumpkin seed is softer that you can eat.
Right.
So you don't want too much.
Well, when it's green, to get out that little shell part, it can supposed to be difficult to make it dry.
Yeah, when it's green, it's softer, so it's easier. If you can chew it with your teeth, then your body can easily manage it. But if it's harder for you to chew with your teeth, then your body's going to have a hard time, and it's just going to be a fiber component and maybe too much when you're ready to go to the bathroom.
Okay, Doc, okay.
All right, William.
Yeah, give thanks.
All right.
On YouTube, Doc, Gregory Brown is asking you if there's anything for epilepsy.
Fits.
Yes, and guess what? Nature's remedies. You have fitweed, spirit weed. That's one of the herbs we'll talk about. But
really?
Fitweed got its name, yes, because of its ability to help with fits and epilepsy. And we look into the phytochemicals for that. The herbs such as spirit weed, fitweed. You also have the mimosa. That's very good as well. Helps to calm the nerves and to revitalize the brain waves, etc. when the person recovers, though. So that's when to prevent it and after the fact. I know growing up, one good old remedy they usually use is getting them to smell.
Yeah, smell your shoes.
And your shoes, if this has a strong odor.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's getting them back up, and then you can have the fitweed as part of the recovery. But if they have trouble with it overall, we talk about it more, but having the fitweed as a part of your herbal teas, that helps.
Here's another one, Doc. This one is kind of different. Cliff asked the doctor if she would request the government to do a program for men to do blood tests as a nationwide health check.
Yes, that would be great. Definitely. Because I tend to really help men with the infertility struggle, erectile dysfunction, because they tend not to want to go and get it done. So having a nationwide drive to say, listen, it's important for your overall health. It's an indication of your blood vessel health, your heart health. Let's get onto it. Definitely on board.
Yeah. Doc, what's good for kidney infection? Who done it is asking.
Kidney?
Infection,
dandelion. Dandelion is good and busy. So I'm using some of the herbs that are easier to get. There's a lot more, but those come to mind right away. They are your liver restoratives. What's the name of that one again? Spanish needle. It's milder, but it also does help. And if you can get ashwagandha powder or moringa seed powder, that also helps.
Yeah. Max Romy wants to know what does bitters do for the body?
Bitters help with your blood and your liver. So bitters help, they act as astringent herbs, as mentioned before. So they help with the blood flow. It helps with repair of your blood vessels because of the antioxidant properties it has in. The reason why it's bitter, you have your polyphenols and your tannins. But those compounds have been shown to have medicinal effects throughout the body. And that's why the bitters are good. It's good to have bitters at least once a week. You should be having some bitters. Liver health, kidney health, blood health. And that part of the system goes everywhere. Your blood, it picks up the toxins from all over your body. Your liver then filters and breaks down the toxin. And then your kidney then removes it from your body. So if you're not having that extra bitterness and too many refined and saturated fat, your liver is doing a lot of work for you. So better lifestyle change or implementing some changes and having some bitter and sour fruits and herbs into your daily life.
Donovan Walker, can you ask the Dr. Ricardo about watermelon and how much citrulline you get from watermelon?
I do not remember how much citrulline you get from watermelon, but watermelon is one of those nutritious fruits that once it's in season, you make use of it because it has a lot of benefits based on its component. It's even a water source. We need 8 glasses of water. You can have your watermelon.
Yeah.
And that helps with getting a lot of water into the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. East Central. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Sir Ricardo. Good evening, Doc.
Hey, Central.
Good evening.
Yes. Doc, you had touched on Viagra and you had touched on stone. So what about the Nefanel?
Which one?
A Nefanel.
A Nefanel?
Yeah.
That's one of the erectile drugs?
No, I asked you.
No, I don't know. I don't know that one, but I can look. I don't know if it's a pharmaceutical.
All right. Let me give you a Jamaican word, gungo.
Okay. Gungo.
Gungo peas?
Not the plant. You're talking about the gungo that we can take as a Viagra. That one?
Yeah.
Hold on, Doc. Hold on. We're talking about.
We're not talking about gungo peas?
No, not gungo peas, but it look like it.
Oh.
Nefanel.
Okay.
What? Say the name again?
Nefanel. When you go in a pharmacy, you use the right name. You know, but I use the country name everybody knows.
All right, I'll look for that. But yeah, gungo is similar to like stone and shiny brush that they use to help the penis to stand up and for you to have a good erection, good stamina to carry out the session.
Yeah,
that
you're talking about erectile dysfunction too. So, does masturbation cause erectile dysfunction? And if yes, what are the solutions?
No, masturbation does not cause erectile dysfunction. Because masturbation is just, again, stimulating the penile muscles and causing the semen to come out, similar to having sex. If you have a lot of sex or a lot of masturbation, your body won't have time to make more semen, make more sperm. So it tends to tell you that it wants to recover by not standing up. Okay. So that's what will happen. But it's just like having sex. It doesn't really cause erectile dysfunction.
So East Central.
Yeah. Yeah, Doc. So, all right, go ahead, Mr. Hughes. Let me respond.
Give us a testimonial. Which one works best for you?
Mr. Hughes, I make you fax me that.
East Central, good evening. Thank you for the call, East Central.
Yes, please.
All right, appreciate it. West, good evening.
Good evening.
You're troubling now.
Good evening, West.
Yeah. For years, it's a part of my diet. Garlic and tomato, pumpkin seed and oats. I don't know myself for many years. I've never gone 2 days without having that into my diet. And I remember over the years, I was captain of 3 ships. 3 teams, full time.
3 what?
Captain in 3 teams.
You were captaining 3 teams.
I captained 3 teams back in the years. I captained 3 teams full time.
Teams of what?
That we understand. Young storyteller say you can't talk before that.
Bugs, what that mean?
He had 3 partners.
Oh.
But there was never ever a slowing down, and still it becomes a Christian walk and a discipline more.
You become what?
A Christian walk and a discipline more.
Oh, you've become a Christian. You're on a Christian walk now.
Discipline more.
So you're only captaining 1 team now.
Only 1 team.
Okay, got you. Up to speed. Yes.
Yes. I have been just random, not because I'm feeling any way funny. I just decided to just start drinking this thing in
Noni, yes.
And I am 53. I have never ever weighed over 154. Never. Never went over 660 pounds. But I since started taking the money from a couple months ago, it's just like nobody just move light, everything just move becomes so simple. What about money? I'm about to get fun of things really. What good about money?
Go ahead.
He's asking what's good about noni, Doc.
We spoke about noni some time ago because noni is an adaptogen. Adaptogen herbs help with restoring the full function of the body in terms of repairing your cells, removing fatigue and stress and anxiety. The noni fruit is rich in compounds that help with that, and the leaf and the bark are also good as an aphrodisiac and enhancing that libido. So some of your root drink have noni bark, and noni fruit juice helps with the reproductive system, both men and women.
I can't take it too often?
No, it's like soursop juice. You can have your noni juice. Yeah.
Okay. That's my concern. I just find myself that move light and easy. I don't know what about it, but I just enjoy having it.
Yeah, you can blend it with your guava or your soursop or your mango. And yeah, it tends to have that thick flavor, but you can make it longer as a lemon type.
Go with mango juice right now.
Nice.
All right, Wes.
Okay, cool.
The veteran captain of 3 teams.
Yeah. But
Wow.
now we're working with
Prolific.
one.
Someone is asking me, Doc, to ask you, going back to the guinea hen weed, yeah? She's just chopped up some of the guinea hen weed to dry for someone overseas who has cancer. She wants me to ask you if it helps with breast cancer.
Yes, it does. Guinea hen weed has been extensively researched for different types of cancer cell lines: breast, leukemia, prostate, you name it. There's a lot of research, some that I've shared, and we can look at more later on. So it is very potent. The DTS, the compounds that give it that strong, potent smell, very good with removing tumors, cancerous or not. It helps to get rid of them out of the body.
Okay. There you have
pull up some other root as well,
Mhm.
and send that as well.
Oh, you hear that, Barbara? Pull up some of the root with the guinea hen weed and send it to your friend. Yeah. Thank you, Doc.
Craig McKenzie on YouTube, Doc, is asking you what helps essential thrombocytopenia.
What that?
Yeah, that's a good.
Do I have that? Thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia.
So your blood vessels are extremely small. So that's something with your blood vessels. I'd have to look up, but I know it's the blood vessels extremely small, either number count or in its size. So in that case, you want to look at revitalizing the blood. Is it an infection causing it? So it depends. It depends on what's the cause of the thrombocytopenia.
Yes.
That you'd want to then look at improving. So it depends on what the blood results is. But enhancing your blood flow, add a little bitters like your sursi, your quassia bark, your dopigon is good, and get some astringent herbs. Flush the system. Your moringa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Papa Nana is on the line. Good evening, Papa Nana.
Good evening.
Good evening to the Doc and good evening to the host. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, sir.
That's for this program, man. Doc, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Guinea hen weed. Which one of this is stronger, the root or the leaf?
The root. The root have more of your medicine. You can even just put the root for sinus and allergies. You can just smell the root and it helps. It's very strong. And Jamaica has a high amount of DTS in our guinea hen when you compare it to other places worldwide that have guinea hen.
I know because we have a lot at home here, but somebody told me that the leaf is stronger than the root. So that's why I'm glad to hear you.
No. Once you're looking at prostate health, anti-cancer, revitalizing the blood and the body, then the root has more. But if you add the root and the aerial parts, that means the leaf and the buds, then you get a little iron and more vitamins.
Okay.
As well.
And Doug, how much days for the week you recommend you drinking that guinea hen?
Guinea hen weed is also a strong herb. So if it's a little tea bag, you can have that every day and then the rest the following week.
So much, Doc.
Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome and have a good night.
You too.
Good. Thanks to all of our callers, our YouTubers, our WhatsAppers, and our tweeps. Of course, our producer, Dana Davey, and she was assisted by Delicia Brown Bull, as well as our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, and the members of the news and production team. Thank you so much. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Last week we had a most exciting show talking about